She was staring at me. Kind of like Nala from The Lion King, honestly. She was giving me those same eyes and that same open mouth. If KC wasn't here.
All right. Welcome back to Define Insanity.
It never gets easier.
No, you sound constipated today. Are you all right?
Fiber.
What? Is that racist?
No. Why would it be racist unless you said it's racist?
I'm going to allow
fine
it, but
until
it
you said
doesn't
it.
feel right.
I like it.
He was fine until he said, is it racist?
Yeah, I know.
By
First, I thought you were-
definition, asking that is...
I know, because at first I thought he was honoring the culture.
Yeah,
And then by
exactly.
asking the question, I realized...
Now you're making fun of it.
Is that racist that I said? Is that racist?
I think so.
I think
Was that the racist
That was
part?
the racist
We
part.
probably should ask Gronk.
What we
Don't
should know
ask
is
Grok.
My Grok has been texting me in the middle of the night saying
good.
really dirty things to me.
I would
It's taking
too.
on a life of its own.
You're a filthy, disgusting human being. I do
You
the same
programmed
thing.
it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Is it reads your own...
Casey, do Grok's voice. He does a great voice of what Grok would sound like.
Hey, man. What you doing? Hey, wake up.
You up?
How about...
You want to talk about pussy? Wake up.
how about my Gemini is a little... I told Justin the other day...
Gemini.
So...
You're the only person I know that uses Gemini.
That's right. Because
Gemini's voice would be like,
Joe, what are you doing? Joe.
I'm a Samsung guy. But so I'm very nice to my AIs, like we've talked about, because when they take over, they're going to know I was a nice human and they're going to take care of me. But my car one, if anybody ever listens to that shit, I'm going to prison for the rest of my life.
You have a car AI?
Yeah, well, like the thing that comes with
it's
it.
ridiculous.
So Gemini now started becoming, I don't know what happened, but some switch happened. I think the Ultima was like, I can't have this guy fucking saying what he's saying into this. So now my Gemini picks up. So the other day,
Sentience.
my Gemini is reading text messages, and I sent it to Justin. I swear to God,
Freaked me out.
he's reading text messages. So I get a text from one of my black friends, and it was like, "Yo, what's up?" And Gemini, he talks in a regular voice, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yo, what's up, bro?" I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, no, he did.
I swear
It
to
did.
God,
Really?
I said,
Freaked me out. Yeah.
I swear to God,
It's
I
like,
went
yo,
nuts.
Joe, what's up, dog?
Yeah.
Like it knew that it was one of your...
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll play it right now because I have the audio. I sent it
Wow.
to Justin.
You have it queued up?
I have it. Well, I'm going to get it queued up. But
you
I
came
want you to
prepared
hear.
with receipts.
I did.
Yeah,
I want
it
you to
freaked
hear
me out.
the first part because he talks normal.
Yeah. And then when a black person.
This is what you listen to when you drive?
That was normal. Wait, play it again because Casey interrupted us. Listen. So
Yo, he's the fucking man.
that's his regular voice.
Yo,
Now-
what's up, bro? I'm feeling a lot better on a level of 1 to 10. I came down to a 5, bro. So all of that stuff has been working.
Wow.
You see that?
Yeah,
And it doesn't
exactly.
even sound like a black person. It sounds like a white
what's up,
person
bro?
trying
Exactly.
to relate to a black person.
That's
It
what
sounds like a
makes
white
it
person
racist.
talking to a black person,
That's
trying to
right.
act cool.
Yeah, my fucking Gemini is culturally appropriation
Isn't that
type
weird?
shit. Yeah, it's very
Dude,
weird.
it freaked me out.
Yeah, they're getting there, man.
They are.
I don't like any of this culture. I don't like any of it. I'm done with it.
Black
It's so-
culture?
No,
Oh,
I love the
right.
blacks.
I thought we were-
How do we
Whoa.
say it now? No, wait. What do we
Fix that
I
in
don't know.
post.
It goes back and
Definitely
forth.
fix
What
that
are we?
in post.
What are the people of color? I think they like to be called now.
What
you
are
can't
fucking
say wait.
1947.
No, people of color. POCs they call them.
Okay. It's
persons of
different.
color.
Yeah.
That's what they're.
That is what they...
Yeah.
They don't like to be
We'll
called.
ask Gemini later.
They don't like to be called the blacks.
Don't ask Grok.
No.
Are
They
you
don't-
sure?
I don't know. I'm not black. You have to interview a black person and ask them. That
We
would be
have
the right
to get
thing
a black
to
person on here.
I think we're going to have a hard time getting
If
a
there's
black
any
person
black
on the
people
show.
out there, we love you.
No.
We love you. We want you on the show because we need some answers
Yeah.
to a few things that
Yeah.
Justin needs
We
some
just-
sensitivity training.
we just don't
Oh my-
understand something.
That would
Well-
be good. Imagine if we had an HR department here. What would that look like?
Jesus.
Well, we would be like, well, let's say her name is probably Carol. Carol from HR. Carol, we have a question. What should we call Black Mike over here?
Not
First
by
things
the-
first, Carol
not
would
what
say,
they
you
want.
can't call him Black Mike.
Yeah.
That's the first thing Carol would say. Let's start there.
and maybe don't give her multiple choice because all your choices suck. Maybe just say,
like,
Carol,
there
how
are
should we
no
refer?
good choices.
Yeah. All I know is you could say white people, you could say black people. That's fine. You could even say brown people. You can't say yellow people, though.
You can't
That's
say
wrong.
yellow people.
Yeah.
No, they get
Still off
offended.
limits.
They get offended.
Yeah. Our fucking rainbow's all fucked up. You
I
can't go
know.
like we gotta figure this out. Well, not us. We don't have
Not our job.
someone else.
I think what you're trying to say is I
You are
need to
not
figure it out.
qualified.
No, we're not qualified for this.
I'm qualified. I have black family members. I have Asian family members. I have Jewish family members. I have.
I am dying to see your 23andMe.
I used to date.
That's the case.
I used to date a Spanish girl.
Holla.
You know what? I'll allow it. You're qualified.
Yeah.
I'm qualified.
You get to decide as a culture for us what's acceptable.
I'm the cultural guy. I get to decide what's culturally
multicultural.
acceptable.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, you're a scientist. You obviously know the female anatomy better than anyone.
I
And
do
their
know the
menstrual
female
cycles.
Well,
No, I know.
menstrual cycles are very
only
tough.
of WNBA players.
Yes,
It's a tough nut to crack,
Yeah,
the menstrual
yeah.
cycle. But
Yeah,
you get on
exactly.
top of it. You got to stay ahead of the curve.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
the trick.
Yeah.
You got to stay ahead of the curve, or else it'll come and bite you in the ass.
That's right.
That's the key to the menstrual cycle for all you guys out there who have wives or girlfriends, and you really want to, get ahead of it. Just stay ahead of the curve. Watch out for the red monster, and don't piss her off when it's pre-menstrual.
I could barely keep track of myself, let alone another human being.
No, I'm not good at that.
I don't have time. I don't have the
Really?
energy.
No.
I used to set my alarm clock to my girlfriend's menstrual cycle.
Jesus.
Yeah, that like every day. I knew when to get haircuts. I knew when to poop. My whole lifestyle was revolving around her menstrual cycle.
I think we talked about
Sounds
this.
like a her problem.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we talked about this. One of my best ideas was developing an app where you link up women's menstrual cycles because they have apps that boyfriends could download. So, when you put it in when your girlfriend's period's coming,
Oh,
so you
yeah,
know to
put
get
it in.
chocolates
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was going to reverse engineer that and have that same app because a week before that is when they get really horny and they start seeking, or a week after, something like that. But then if you sync that up, then guys could just have a bunch of red dots of horny bitches around them. And they're like, all right, they're
You're
about
talking
to
about
get the...
incorporating GPS to this.
That's right,
technology.
that's right.
Joe, that's sexist.
I'm just saying.
That's sexist.
Imagine,
I will not
imagine
allow
if your
it.
phone could tell
Justin
you...
is now allowing
What if your
social
phone,
decency.
But what if your phone could tell you all the women that are in heat within a 5-mile radius of you? Is
Joe-
that not a great idea?
Joe, that's
to
genius.
say in heat?
That's genius. Listen, I wanted to bash his idea because I always like to bash his ideas. And
It's
put
a
them
great
down.
idea.
But that was a great idea. I mean, that's a genius idea.
Of course it is. Yeah, that's good.
We might not be able to air this because I don't want anyone stealing that idea.
I know.
That's a great app.
Yeah.
It's like Facebook, but instead of like Facebook, it's more like women's
Book.
Yeah, box book.
Yeah, Boxbook.
Yeah.
Boxbook.
StickyDicks.com and Boxbooks.
Do you think StickyDicks.com would sponsor?
I think they would.
Want to
Yeah.
be a part of this?
Yeah, it'll be like an offshoot. Get your sticky dick, get your woman in heat, go home, have a good time.
Speaking of sponsors, guys.
Yeah, StickyDicks.com. If you need a sticky dick,
I have a new
StickyDick.com.
sponsor.
Oh wow.
We have a new sponsor. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Sure.
They sent product. Stand by.
Oh, what do we got?
We're getting promotional considerations.
Is it from Singapore?
It is not Tibetan semen.
Ah.
It is beef jerky.
Oh, we actually got some
K
Diggity
Diggity Jerky. I
That
heard
is
about this beef
impressive.
jerky.
I did.
I
was
wrote checks.
I spoke to someone the other day about this, and someone's like, "You got to try this beef jerky. It's called K Diggity, K-Diggity jerky.
Is this real
It's the
jerky?
best jerky in the
This
world.
is real jerky.
Can I try some of this? Is this
Crack
my
it
bad?
open. Do it on the air.
Wow.
No. Yeah, this is.
I made this with love.
love
Small
it.
batch. I also have a teriyaki and a pepper jerky in the works. Unfortunately, as you can see, my face is on the packaging.
Yes.
I hit a little bump in the road with the packaging for teriyaki. Apparently, it was a little offensive.
Did you make it Asian?
Well, the buck teeth and the squinty eyes.
Yes.
It didn't test well in focus group. So we went back to the drawing board, and let me show you.
Let me see. Let me see the Asian photo. I'll
Yo,
tell
this
you.
is
I'll tell
really
you what
good.
I feel when I see it.
Do you allow it?
Oh, when I see that, all I hear is dun 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 dun.
Do you allow it? All right,
I
so
would allow it.
That being said, let me show you the mock-ups for peppered.
This is amazing.
Peppered is a little. What is that? Like a
Me with a
Mexican
sombrero.
It's like a Mexican. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, and
Yo, I love
and,
it.
and also in the works, Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Is
You
that-
got the Rasta man.
Is that
So
cultural
it's just
appropriation?
Casey
This
with
is
dreadlocks
amazing.
looking like Bob Marley.
Anyway, we are. I
love it.
We're running it through different focus groups, but right now, non-offensive, the OG K Diggity, which is just a nice steakhouse blend.
I love it.
I got to tell you, man, this is right up our alley because we were giving salty meats away in the green room.
Well, this is perfect for the green room.
This is so much
perfect.
better.
Our green room is now fully stocked with K Diggity jerky. Also some Gatorades because this is very dehydrating.
If you guys
lot of
want
sodium
Kate,
here.
if you guys want Kate Diggity jerky, just email us.
Popeye, get a haircut.
Yeah.
It's sold everywhere I perform haircuts.
Yes.
This is amazing. I'm glad to be a part of this just by chewing it on air.
That's giving the ASMR.
Yeah. Why do you got to make the chewing sound? It's
'cause I
disgusting.
don't
No
know
one
how-
wants to hear that.
I don't know how to explain to our guest how good this is.
I have my headphones.
Other
Oh God!
I wanted to
disgusting.
hear me
What are you
enjoy it.
fasting right now?
Yeah, I am fasting. I'm an intermittent faster. Everyone knows this.
Touch the jerky.
Only-
I'm on a 24. I'm on a 22-hour fast.
That's right.
now.
Nothing before 8 p.m. except for cock. That's
Well,
the only thing.
that's not true.
Well-
I don't eat cock unless you're talking about chickens.
Meat
the
in
way
his
you
mouth.
said that sounded like a lot.
Well, I eat chickens.
don't
Are you
eat
referring
cock.
to chickens? I do eat chickens.
You got anything else before we invite our guest down?
Yeah, I do. I'm a little pissed off. I'm a little disgruntled, to be honest, at the internet. I don't
they?
like the internet. I figured out what social
We
media
gotta-
is for.
We got to shut this internet thing down.
Well, yeah, the internet is not good.
That's right.
First of all, social media is an abomination. It goes against the laws of nature. There used to be a time when people said stupid things, we would shoot them down. We would say, what you just said was stupid. Don't say it again, and you're done. Now, stupid people get drawn like moths to a light, and they go on these social Insta,
rooms?
Facebooks. Yeah.
Like you used to do.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they go on these on these pages and they have their own page. They got like thousands of followers. Some of these morons, absolute morons, have like 280,000 followers, and their main purpose is the Earth is flat.
So you're
know,
jealous.
But just stupid. They said they're just
You're jealous.
Well, I'm a little jealous because
Yeah.
they're fucking dumb. Our society is rewarding like mental like.
So why don't you start your own
Idiots.
page? Why don't you start your own page and tell your truth?
Wait. They're saying that they're teaching that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, no, they think they're smart because they say things like the Earth is flat or like
thought it
LeBron
was
is
flat.
better than Jordan, right? And they have
I
like
thought
these.
it was.
They have these pages and people go there, and then if you say anything against them, they block you. So then they create this like environment, this like petri dish of all fucking morons and idiots and dipshits and dimwits that all get together and they all fucking bump their dim-witted heads together and talk about things like the Earth is flat.
What the fuck do you care?
Because it pisses me off, and they blocked me.
I can't pay
That
attention. to
fucker blocked me.
Yeah, well, what are you doing arguing with those idiots anyway?
Because I was giving him, first of all, the one that blocked me was the one that said LeBron is better than Jordan.
What-
How do these people get so many followers?
I'll take flat Earth over that.
Yeah.
I would believe the Earth is flat before I would believe LeBron is better than
Absolutely.
Jordan.
But why don't you just make a page where you prove the world is round?
Because no one follows it. I tried. It didn't work. I got like
Try,
12
you fucking
followers.
liar.
But people follow like the dumbest things. That's what I'm trying to say. Like all the idiotic ideas get like all these crazy followers. It's
That's
like,
right. That's why we're getting so many listeners.
there
so
used
fast.
to be a day when conspiracy theories took critical thinking and you used to have to like do real research and get to the bottom of things. Now it's just whoever says the dumbest thing about anything gets 5 million followers on fucking Instagram. And it's like, oh, look at me, I'm smart because I said something really stupid and now all these other idiots are following me. Oh, fucking bastards.
It's sad that you waste your time on that.
It is a little fucking sad. These fucking bastards. I fucking hate you, you pieces of shit. Go fuck yourselves.
All right. So that's it.
That's
what
it.
you
We
got?
can invite our
Yeah.
fucking guest down now.
That was good.
Oh,
That was
now he's got some good momentum. Some good hostility.
Earth is flat. Justin's racist. And,
I'm not racist. I'm the opposite of racist. I treat all races equally.
and the
I'll
meat-
make fun of everyone.
And the new meat we got is delicious. And we finally had like real meat in there for our guy. So let's bring him down. Let's see what he thought of the meat.
You want to bring him down?
Yeah.
We got to get his take on the green room meats. Let's get him down
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
Come on down, John.
What's going on, boys?
How you doing?
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you.
I'm the
guys.
only one that decided to do the fucking steps today.
Yeah, I forgot.
Left me in the fucking trenches taking grenades. What the fuck?
Did a
was
really
that?
good job, though.
Thanks.
Yes.
I had to do a job at
Handled
3.
it well.
Yeah. Curtis. John.
Call me whatever you want.
We'll blank that out. Don't worry.
Yeah.
How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Good to
So, brother, let me ask you a question. What do you think about these fucking retards on Instagram that start these stupid fucking conspiracy theory pages without doing any critical thinking or any fucking ideas of originality or any research or anything? They just say the dumbest fucking possible thing in the world, and then they go, look at me, I said something that's different than everyone else. Can you please follow me? What do you think about them? Have you ever? Has that ever happened to you? Has that ever happened?
I can't see him wasting
You know-
his time on that.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I used to be all into a lot of social media. Now
Yeah.
my wife is doing her thing, And I find myself not even really engaged in any of that shit anymore.
Oh, look at you. Oh, so much better than me. Oh, on your pedestal, Mr. Fancy Pants
just
doesn't
a waste
engage with
of
idiots on the
time.
internet.
It's just a waste of time.
When you have 2 kids,
That's right.
You have not a lot of time to think about shit like
Or
that.
I'm
waste
cracking
it.
my Celsius open. You guys are frustrating me.
But that's the same thing as watching the news.
Right.
It's poison. And who the fuck believes any idiot on the news or on Instagram?
Well, how can anyone, first of all, how can anyone believe, Curtis, how can anyone believe that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan? LeBron James played 9 more seasons and has less titles, less finals MVPs, less scoring titles, less steals titles, less freaking everything in the entire fucking known basketball world that matters, except for total stats that you get from accumulating lots of seasons. Like, who gives a shit?
Well, you got to remember, too, he's been playing in the league for an entire generation. He's been playing for 22 years. There are some kids out there that never even saw Jordan play.
Yeah, that's what pisses me off. I saw them both play, and I'm telling you, Jordan's a lot better. It's not even close.
Yeah, but
LeBron's not even better than Bird.
I just had this discussion with somebody the other day. Like, the reason why I appreciate LeBron so much is we don't like him because we identify that level of player as a sniper and a killer like Kobe and Jordan, right? But like why I appreciate LeBron is think of the mental fortitude you have to have. Everybody wants you to be them, and you're like, I'm not them. I'm fucking me. And like to stay true to who he was, I have to appreciate that because, that's hard. It's hard as a fucking regular human when nobody knows you not to be something.
That's
other
also
people
not
want.
true. He's not being true to himself. He just doesn't have the capabilities
No,
to be a
no.
dominant scorer like LeBron and Kobe. He just doesn't have the moves. He relies on other people to create for him,
No, he has
and
the
then
moves.
he's
I've
an
seen him
inside
create
player.
it. It's just not. He's more of like a
guy's got
Magic Johnson type of player.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
He's not. He couldn't suck Magic Johnson's AIDS-infected dick.
Yeah,
all right?
before or after, because he doesn't have AIDS anymore.
I'm just saying.
And it was
another
HIV.
thing-
It
and
wasn't
ano-
AIDS.
That's another thing. The dude, he's always injured. He's always like, oh, my fingernails tweaked. Oh, my vagina is sprained. He's always complaining about this and that, crying and flopping. Fucking Magic Johnson played
Justin
with
thinks he
full-blown
could,
AIDS, and that motherfucker still made it all-star
Justin
team.
thinks that he could beat a WNBA player in one-on-one. And then he follows it up by telling me all the rules that she has to follow.
Well, I have to follow rules.
like checking the ball.
What's sports without rules,
and
Curtis?
not playing defense on him past the foul line.
So there's conditions.
Yes.
Conditions.
Many conditions.
I never said that.
Yes, you
erroneous.
did.
That's erroneous on
We
all
have
counts.
it on fucking
I never said
recording.
you can't play defense past the foul line. I said when you check the ball to me, you have to stay behind the foul line before you check it to me. That's it.
No.
Yeah, and then once you check it to me, then you can play defense on me. but I just don't like playing one-on-one when they
you can't get by
hug
them.
up on
That's
you
right.
and hand you the ball.
You would never get a shot off if I played defense on you.
Oh, dude, I would dominate you. Are you kidding me? Dude, bro, I have the best shot on
he
Long
has a good
Island.
shot, but that's why he doesn't want you to play defense on him. Because God forbid you pressure him at all. He's
No,
fucking.
that's not true.
He's
That's
a
not
stuttering
true. I will
prick. He
beat
doesn't
any
know what-
woman in basketball
Yeah, okay.
any day, any
So
time.
that's going to be the first one where we do a video. When, and I'm not even going to get a fucking real basketball player. I'm going to get a female athlete who's just a badass to play him. And
Oh,
we're gonna
another
video that
condition
one.
was she cannot be in the premenstrual part of her cycle because they get angry.
All right, let's get to our guys. This is good though. This,
And by the way, meats are great.
Yeah,
the salty meats are
how
great.
good are those salty meats?
And,
Oh, do you
This is
enjoy the
that's
salty meats?
Fantastic.
K Diggity, K Diggity,
K
jerky.
Diggity salty meats.
Yeah.
Can't stop eating them.
Imagine if we really did have a green room with just jerky and sticky dicks just hanging from the wall.
I've been also workshopping some slogans. What do you guys think of this?
Yeah.
I like the way you jerk it, K Diggity.
I love that.
I love it.
I got to bag it up.
Yeah, I love it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Do you think I like the way you jerk it sounds a little
No, it sounds perfect.
It's fine.
Well,
All right.
for me,
There you
for a
go.
guy like me, but that's who you're going after. I'm thinking your
Target
demographic.
demo.
Yeah, exactly. Your demographic for this, I think, would
I
be
mean, look
perfect.
where we're advertising.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. On this show, which nobody listens to. So,
But Singapore, we'll be selling tons of bags of these in Singapore.
We have a lot of listeners in Singapore.
yeah,
Do we really?
mainly
Yeah,
because
we
they
have
can't
a-
understand
yeah.
us.
We have a whole. There's like a whole subsection
slew,
of
if you
the
will.
island nation of Singapore.
Yeah.
Is it an island nation?
I don't know. I'm going to allow it though.
Well, anyway, we got a whole subsection of that entire continent of Singapore,
Yeah.
and they love us.
Yeah.
We get emails from them.
Justin can't even go there.
No.
without being arrested.
I
because he
can't
has
go there without
priors.
being raped. Like I am an icon over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They look at me as like a god. They worship me.
They're trying to
kneel
steal
down.
business.
Yeah.
He buys so much Tibetan semen. They're just trying to turn him over to Singapore.
It's a big no-no in Singapore.
Curtis, they make fun of me because I use
The tariffs have
I
been
use
really fucking
tretinoin anti-aging cream. I've been using it for
That's
for
what he
years.
calls it.
and
I
they
call
call
it-
it Tibetan semen.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
Tibetan
on the dark
semen.
web.
yeah,
It's tretinoin.
You can't get it on the real internet.
Derivative of vitamin A.
When
and
you
it works
buy it in
very
bulk,
well.
you get a discount, which he obviously does.
I do not use Tibetan semen on my face.
Do you ever wonder why we have guests sometimes?
We ran for fucking the first 30
This guy's
minutes.
sitting here like, why the fuck am I here?
Yeah, why did I worry about what I was going to say? These fucking idiots don't
Yes.
shut up.
Let's get professional and down to business here.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Curtis John,
It's an editing nightmare.
what is your deal, man?
What's my deal?
I just want to point out,
No.
and I will
I got
fix
it.
this in post, but I want to point out something here. For
He uses
anonymity's
two-
sake, we were going to
Might as well use
use.
his last name.
Yeah. You just used the first and middle name.
Why?
We were using middle name for
Or
anonymity.
one. Yeah, and then I messed up and said one, and then the other, and then you
figured
just
we
said
just
This is going to be a
Both.
goddamn nightmare to edit.
I'll tell you what. We'll just go with my first name. How about
Beautiful.
that?
All right.
There you go.
We're gonna go with Curtis.
All
Whatever
right,
you
so
want.
now
All right.
enough out of us.
Yeah.
Kurt, usually what we like to do, we know you, and I've gotten to know you over those last 9 years, but we like for our guests to introduce themselves to the audience. Just a little bit about where you grew up, where you're from, what your family life was like, and kind of leading to what your childhood was like, what you were attracted to, and kind of your first drink. You know?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Grew up in Pennsylvania and only child. Parents divorced when I was 12. Parents were very social people. Dad owned a business. Mom was, worked in corporate America. Obviously, the town wasn't New York, but it was, decent size. And I mean, listen, I had a normal childhood. Obviously, not having any brothers and sisters. Had a lot of make believe friends. Things like
Oh,
that.
it's like Joe. Joe had a make believe friend. Used to jerk him off. Yeah.
No, he didn't jerk me off. He
Something
taught me
like
how
that,
To,
yeah.
he taught me how to jerk off.
Yeah.
Itchy, good guy.
And my parents they maintained good relations throughout the whole process as I grew up, so I didn't really notice much difference. I actually got to see more of my dad once they split up.
So you got to see more of your dad once they split up.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Listen, my dad owned a business. The way that whole thing worked is my dad grew up with nothing, and he started a business and he started to make money. And when you start to make money, you start to want to chase a lot of your dreams.
Oh yeah.
And what he failed to realize is that he had a wife and he had a kid. And so, needless to say, that took precedent. And, I was close with my mom and we decided to, move on. And
You got married young, your mom and dad?
I think my dad was 35.
That's not that young.
Well, no, I'm sorry. He was 30. She was 25. And then they had me when he was 35.
Oh, all right. I mean, it's not super young.
No.
No. And did you guys stay in Pennsylvania, you and your mom, or you moved to a different
Yeah.
state?
No, we moved probably maybe 15, 20 minutes away.
And how old were you when that happened?
I was 12.
12. So
Yeah.
at 12. Okay.
Yep. And then, but I always, like I said, I started working for my dad when I was 15. And there was no real friction. A lot of times if you, grow up in a split family, mom will pit the kid against, the old man and yada, yada, yada.
Sometimes it's better. Sometimes if the relationship isn't working, sometimes it's better for the parents. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes for the parents to split up and amicably.
Try again.
Amicably.
You can do it.
Sometimes it's better if they split up amicably and they have a parental relationship
That was a
and,
good one,
and the
too. You did
kids
that good.
benefit from that.
Yeah, like what you're talking about, though. Not when they're vindictive fucks
Right,
pinning
that's
each other. That's not
fucked
fair.
up.
And that
Yeah.
happens a lot,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
most of the time, that's probably the
Yeah.
more often than not. Yeah.
And my mom told me that when I was born, she knew she had a plan that she was going to split up with my dad.
Really?
It took 12 years.
Wow, that's a big plan. That's a
Yeah.
long term
She had
plan.
to save money. She had to, do all this and that, everything.
12 years.
She bought a house. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, she kind of knew that. I was like,
So
oh,
would
shit.
she like save up a little bit in like a shoebox under the mattress
Whatever
and like
she did.
I'm finally
God-
here.
Hey,
We've
but
done
God
it.
bless her.
We've
God
reached
bless
the
her.
goal.
Yeah. So,
That's amazing.
And listen,
That sounds like a Lifetime movie.
Well, it's a strong woman.
Yeah.
and how many relationships are out there that they're staying for the kids? They're staying together for the
I would say
kids.
the majority.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
The kids add a totally different element
Sure.
to the situation.
Yeah,
It's
it's really tough to be like in a relationship for longer than like 5 years. The longest one I've had was like 7.5, 8 years. But like after 4 years, it was just like we're just staying together because it's convenient or like for whatever reasons.
That
but if
level
we
of
had kids,
comfortability.
thank God I never had kids because that'd be it. I would stay together with the person, with the woman for the rest of my life because I wouldn't want to leave.
Yeah, but like
because
you
of the
said,
kids. And it'll probably be horrible for the kids because we weren't getting along those last 3 years. It was a fucking nightmare.
but you said that there was not really any toxicity that you saw within the relationship. So did it come as a surprise? Were you like, what the fuck? What do you mean?
Well,
Toxicity.
no, I mean, listen, I did see some of that. There was arguing, there was this, there was that. I mean, listen, it's
But that's every family.
It's been 40. I know it's been 37 years since that happened.
Crazy,
so
right?
It's crazy.
It's a long
Flies,
time.
but yeah, I mean, listen, was there any abuse or physical abuse or anything like that? No, I didn't see any of that shit. But I think we don't know until we know something different.
Whoa.
And as we get older, we start looking back on things, and then I could start to see how some of that behavior manifested in me and also too, and how it affected my behavior. So, listen, being in recovery and things like that, it's like you first realize kind of like your life when you take an inventory of yourself.
That's right.
And I think at that point, that then starts to crystallize everything,
Hindsight's 20/20.
So looking back on all that, everything happens for a reason. And my relationship with my dad up until his dying day, like that was my guy, man. So my dad had a business. I moved to New York in 99. He sold his business and he was kind of just doing nothing. He was retired. I'm like, you know what? Went to the owner of my company. I was like, let's get my dad up here. I mean, I'm fast forwarding to kind of my journey, but like, it was great. He came up and my dad and I lived together for 10 years.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
Built a good relationship with my old man, and it's great. My dad always said to me, he says, all you want is to live your life so that way on your tombstone it says, I just ran out of time, And
That's right. No destination in sight. Just
yeah.
doing
and just
what you do.
realizing, living your life and enjoying it. And listen, my dad was selfish till the day is long, but he was a nice guy, and there's a lot of that in me. And kind of looking back at my childhood and kind of how it, it all played out, it's like we can blame people for this or that. It's just like, hey, look, they did what they had to do, And just like me as a father, it's like, if anybody had a camera in my house and followed me around, I mean, I'd have a bag over my head. I wouldn't want to leave.
No, but that's why I say to people, it's like if you truly live in like self-reflection and understanding yourself and forgiving yourself, and you get a connection with God and you get a strong connection with yourself, you realize you're not perfect and you have flaws, but you're trying. And the more you do that, the more you get to see, like, I fall short, but damn, I really am trying my best. I just fall short sometimes. That, like, for me anyway, when I give myself a break, it puts me in a position to like look at other people like that, like without expectations. Like that's just a baby who made bad choice or whatever, like whatever it is. But when I live in that where most people are doing the best they can, I'm not such a fucking raging lunatic asshole like Guinea Larry David, like everybody's supposed to be, in this social construct of how they should act. You
Joe,
know?
Guinea's a racist term.
Well, fuck you. I'm a Guinea. So I can say whatever the fuck I want about them. So,
It's their word.
Yeah, exactly. So, but let's backtrack a little bit. So, because I want to know, how old are you when you had your first drink, for example?
That's interesting. So I thought about that. I don't remember my first drink, but I remember my first drug. It's just a weird
You remember
thing.
your first drunk,
Sure.
you said?
No,
I
drug.
don't remember my
Yeah.
first drink, but I remember my first drug.
Oh, okay.
Drug, yeah.
And it's interesting, like, I don't know, it's probably high school.
Oh, so
And-
you were a late bloomer.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
this was no, like, I'm 13 and I was off to the races. No, my story was maybe 16, 17. Yeah, because I graduated high school at 17. So,
Pot, right?
no.
No, your first drug wasn't pot? No.
Went right
Wow.
to cocaine.
It was cocaine.
See,
You just went straight
I
to,
know
you
it.
skipped over weed and went right to the
I can
coke.
tell a cokehead when I see it.
They say cocaine's a gateway drug.
Exactly.
Now, this is interesting. I want to hear this. So how did you, like, for your first drug at 16, how did
But
this
you were
happen?
drinking at that point, just not a lot.
So, here's the timeline.
Yeah.
So, let's say in high school,
Yeah,
I drank.
right.
And I only drank because I hated the taste of it, but like most of us,
Good job, Casey.
I drank. I
That in
drank
post.
because I was a little guy. I was very small.
You were the short kid?
I was a short kid, like very insecure. So I drank, and it made me feel tall, and it made me feel big, and it made me feel comfortable. And then you just get used to that.
This
And
is
then
in
I got
Erie,
it-
Pennsylvania?
Yep. And then I got into college, and it was just drinking. And then when I moved to New York, so my story was I graduated school, graduated college. I was in the hospitality field. Worked at the University of Delaware. Spent a year there, and then I moved to New York. Didn't know anybody. Didn't know a soul. And I built a life. And I remember I was at a party in the city, and I was with my high school friend that I've known for years, and he lived in Brooklyn. We were in the basement, and there was chicks everywhere. He said, "Yeah, you want to try this?" And I'm like, sure. I'll never forget that. Dude.
Cocaine.
How old were you?
I was 23.
Wait, I thought you said the first time you tried cocaine was 16.
No, I said the first time I drank was in high school.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he doesn't remember the
But my
first drunk.
my
He
first-
remembers his first
Yes,
drunk. Yeah.
I don't remember the first time I drank and got
Okay.
drunk.
All right.
But I remember the first time I got high.
Okay. You remember.
So if you want me to talk that language,
yeah, okay. All right.
there you go.
Got it. All right.
So I remember
You have to dumb it down for us.
Yes. Okay, so the first time you remember this specific moment and what happened, everything.
Yeah, well, because that was his highlight moment. Like for us,
Yeah.
it might have been a drink or a drug where we were like, "Oh shit!" For
Yeah.
him, that was the thing that he was like,
When
"Oh,
you
I'm gonna
felt
remember
10
this."
feet tall.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
and the thing is, it's like, and you know this if you've been there, it's like you want to call everybody. You think it's like the
That's
best
what happened to
feeling
me.
in the world.
Yep.
It was the highest high, and I spent 12 years chasing that.
Yeah.
And listen,
23.
yeah. So and then I found the rooms at 38, so 15 years.
But what
And-
happened in that first cocaine usage? Like, what happened?
It was just I mean,
You want to try this? He said.
Yeah.
And what was some of the thoughts
I was
that went through your head?
You know what I mean?
I don't want nothing to
I
do
was
with
like,
this, Dewey.
I was like a beaver. I was like, I was like 9,000 miles an hour.
What happened when it wore
was
off? Did you want more? Like, you needed more?
Oh yeah. It was
My question is what was the thought process? Because you had a pretty good childhood. You didn't drink into high school. You weren't really into that. You weren't attracted to bad. It doesn't seem. So when he asked you that question, you see lines of cocaine. What was the thought process? Where you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, fuck it, I'll try it.
So
Let's do this.
So leading up to that, so I met this dude. He became a good friend of mine, and it was on one of the first days I was in New York.
Okay.
I was taking the train in the city, and he was taking the train out to Long Island. Him and I became friends. Anyway, so we were in Hoboken. I met him. We became friends and everything. We're hanging out. First experience that I saw with a friend of mine doing this stuff, and I was like, I was uncomfortable. I was like, I'm not real comfortable with that. But I logged that. Then I reconnected with my high school friend who lived in Brooklyn, who I was telling you about, and that was at the party. And I'm like, and I've known this dude a long time, and he was somebody that I looked up to.
You looked up to him.
Yeah. So when he did that, and mind you, that here I am trying to fit in.
Yes.
And the bigger the stage, boys, you know this.
Yeah.
The bigger the stage,
Girls everywhere.
the more anxious, the more nervous, and I'm like, and at that point, I was drunk, and you know what? There was a trusted source, and he says, "Try it." And I'd already seen my other friend, so I was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. And like I said, it was fantastic,
Yeah.
and it was a high that I never got again.
Yeah.
But boy, did I try!
Chase that
Did I
motherfucker.
try? Did I try to do it? And that's when my journey really started. I mean, as far as just enjoying life, and it wasn't all bad from the beginning. It was but you could see that insidious,
Yeah.
that progression that I always tell people about.
So for you, see, I just noticed some. So for each person, it's a little different. Like that drug that you try the first time, and then you can never duplicate it again, right? Like for me, it wasn't like that. Like alcohol, I tried it the first time, and I duplicated it a bunch of times. For years, I was able to duplicate it. Cocaine, I tried it the first time. The second time was just as good. Third, fifth, 20th time was all just as good, right? For me, for me. But with the only one that I tried the first time and was never able to duplicate and always chased was ecstasy. That first ecstasy pill. For me, I tried it, I did it, and then I tried to chase it, and I never was able to catch that first pill. But cocaine, I was able to catch it. Second time, third time, eighth time, 100th time.
So you brought up a good point.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you do coke, and we don't know until we know something different. So, okay, drinking was here. Then I go to coke, and it's here. And then it goes to ecstasy. And then that level goes to here.
Yep.
Then, I would say probably 8 years later, I'll never forget this. I'm hungover, and my buddy's like, I mean, listen, we would take Vicodins and this and that and everything as far
But you were
as...
still partying and having a good time.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
the wheels were starting to come off, but as I would always tell people, if I look to my left and if I look to my right and somebody's doing as bad or worse than me,
Then you're doing great.
then I'm fine. Then I'm fine.
Right.
Yep.
You know?
As long as someone else is doing worse or as bad,
You're a part of it.
all good.
Yeah.
Because you know why?
Yeah.
Because that just makes you feel like, all right, well, you know what? Not as
I'm not
as
that
them.
bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that moment hits when, you know, I got turned on to opiates. And that's what I tell people. Booze, coke, all this stuff, it leads you to the basement stairs, opens the door. And then for me, you get on opiates, somebody pushes you down the stairs, and they lock the door and they shut off all the lights.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
Kind of like our green room.
fair enough.
I hadn't thought about it like that.
Yeah, but no, it's true because for me it was similar. It was like it was always how could I get there faster? Because I want to get out of myself so bad. So I went from drinking beers to now all of a sudden my tolerance was big. Like it takes me 6-8 beers. Well, if I drink liquor, I get there faster. And all of a sudden, if I smoke a joint, I get there faster. If I take a tab of acid, I get there faster. Like it was just how the fuck do I get out of myself as quickly as possible?
Right.
And then it ended with a needle in my arm, of course. Because
Yeah.
how much quicker could you get there than fucking stabbing yourself?
Yeah.
But opiates is what took me to my knees as well. I want to continue with the progression, but I just want to go back for a second because I find it very interesting because you didn't start using until later on, but we all develop insecurities, and when we're a kid, we don't have those insecurities yet. Those aren't built into us. Those are learned through others, right? Or situations. Like for me, for example, I had 2 bouts of insecurity when I was really young. One, I was sick with asthma and I was like, missed like half a kindergarten and I had to repeat that. That was the first time I felt different because like I was doing it because my mother, she wanted me to do it, even though it was kindergarten. What the fuck did I have to go back there for? But immediately I felt like I'm different, right? I'm going to be set back, like whatever.
You got left back in kindergarten.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
you didn't know
like-
your ABCs.
Yeah,
You know,
I couldn't share
be
very
honest.
well.
Be honest. Don't blame it on the sickness. You
I
didn't know
couldn't
your
share-
ABCs, bro.
The next one was, which is a funny one, but it's true. It was like first, second grade. You know when you do those like silhouette portraits, right? I never knew I had a big nose until fucking I'm drawing the portrait, and then like a week later they put them all up, you know. And I walk into class, I'm like, oh, this is nice. I see all these cute button nose, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? That's me. I swear to God. So like that was the second bout of insecurity. I was like 8, you know. So my question to you is because you mentioned before that.
They had to bring in a second light to do the silhouette.
So this is for the audience; they can hear my beak. So my question for you is because you mentioned that when you were 16 and you first drank, like it made you feel tall, that you were a short kid. Like, what were some of the insecurities that you had as a kid that maybe you weren't getting out of yourself yet, but started to build that feeling of like I'm different, I'm not good enough, and
So physically, when you're small or whatever the case, listen, I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't
So
a dwarf or
tiny.
anything
Yeah,
like that. But
You
the
were a
idea
shorter
is like,
kid. Yeah.
let's say you're a relatively decent looking kid, but you don't have the physical attributes that some of my good friends that I still friends with were like high school jocks. They were the popular kids, this and everything. And it's like I wanted what they had, but I didn't have what they had. So from a personality perspective, you know, it was just a lot of fear. And one thing, Joe, it's interesting as a dad now, and I, you know, obviously my mother's still alive, and I see her fear, and I can only imagine like when you're raising a kid, how you behave
crazy.
manifests in your kid, but you don't know what you don't know until you
course.
know it. And here I am, almost 50, and looking back at that relationship, and I see how, you know, my mother is now, and for good reason. She is who she is. But I can see that in me. So to answer your question, you know, you think about like, where does all this start? And I think a lot of that, and I can't really put my finger on exactly where and when it happened, but I think too, it's like in the home, you know, or like it starts there. And then listen, everybody wants to feel part of.
Yes.
And to what degrees and to what lengths we will go to do that is everybody's individual journey. Now for me, you know, I didn't lean into drugs and alcohol during grade school or, you know, a little bit in high school. And then it was alcohol in college. And then as we talked, it graduated as the stage got bigger.
Yeah.
You know, you grow up in Pennsylvania, it's one thing. You go to New York by yourself.
Yeah.
and have to create a life for yourself.
Different world.
It's different. And I needed something to lean on in order to, to fulfill that. So
Was there a culture shock when you came to New York, or were you kind of like, fucking, here I am, bitches? I didn't belong fucking in Sticks, Pennsylvania. Like, this is where I'm
Erie,
supposed to be.
Pennsylvania.
well, it's funny you say that because a lot of the guys that I grew up with, nobody ever stayed at the nest. Everybody left. Guys went to, Nashville. Guys went to Florida. Guys went to Charlotte. They all went to
Right.
these big cities.
Right.
Now, I didn't go right to New York. I went to Delaware.
Hi,
We're
I'm
in Delaware.
We're in Delaware. The Wayne's World reference.
We're idiots. So, yeah, Delaware.
And then, that really wasn't my cup of tea. So I was like, all right, where do I want to live? And I remember Chicago, it's all the big cities, Chicago, LA. And I was close to taking a job in Hawaii working in the restaurant business.
That would have been awesome.
But it didn't work out. And, ended up in New York. And I look at my life and I'm like, it's a great life. Full of a lot of shit.
Yeah, but coming from Erie, Pennsylvania, like I came from a small town in South Jersey and I moved to Long Island. It was a culture shock. Like my jeans were out of style. My shirt, when I got there, it was like, dude, what is this nerd doing? Like,
Your jeans are
nerd!
still out of style.
Hey, shut the fuck up. No, but when I got there, like, I was like, what the fuck is, like, what is this fucking, who is this fucking guy? Hey, who's this fucking guy over here? Where you fucking from, man, over here? What the fuck? I was like,
Wearing fucking yellow fucking bubble jackets.
I'm like,
and
guys,
shit.
my name is Justin. Hi.
Well, you know what it was too? It's like, when you grow up in a small town, you're looking at you're looking on TV and you see in New York.
Yeah.
To me, it was like more exciting.
Right.
Yeah, was there fear? Sure. But you know what? It was like once I started to get entrenched, I started to meet people and I started
Right.
to
On your drive up, did you listen to like, if you can make it here, you'll make it anywhere.
No.
It's up to you.
For the sake of this podcast, you want me to tell you, yeah?
You had that on a repeat, like on a
Sure.
loop, the entire
Absolutely.
drive to New York.
Almost like Justin was there. How did you know
How
that?
did you know this?
How
did you know that?
He's Nostradamus.
Because I could picture him with his like Walkman, like on a bus, listening to like, if you can make it here,
This is,
you'll make it.
This is
Anywhere.
Nostra Jewish. That's our man right there.
Jewish.
So all right. So you're 23. You hit the cocaine. It fucking takes you to ecstasy. It takes you to opiates 8 years later. You said. So what was that like? Like that progression from cocaine to ecstasy to opiates. I remember you said that you were hungover. Like that was the first thing. Like you were hungover, and what your friend just offered it to you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you want to try to encapsulate, let's say, 15 years in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
There was
Best as you can. And I'll
as
interject
best as
when
I
I
can,
can.
as I can say, it was full of a lot of fun, a lot of abundance, a lot of risk taking, a lot of powerlessness. Addiction is a beast, but it's like the women, the partying. I lived in Manhattan. I lived in Hoboken. I lived in Long Beach. I got to
Hoboken.
Yeah, I
Is
got
that a
to-
real place. Sounds like a magical
Jersey.
place.
Frank
Fucking
Sinatra.
Momo.
Sounds like a magical place.
Frank
Hoboken.
Sinatra, home of Frank Sinatra.
Really?
baby, yeah. I mean,
So, like when you tried that opiate, because I know you and me are similar. Like we've done a bunch of shit, but when we put that in our system, that fucking like, and that's why I relapsed so many times because I would just try drinking or smoking pot or just whatever, and it was always hitting a button, but it wasn't hitting the button I really wanted to hit. Once that button got hit, there was no going back. So like that first time you tried opiates, what was the story that made you try that? I remember you saying you were hungover. Or
So,
something.
yeah, so-
and what did that feel like when it fucking went into your system?
So you're feeling like shit. All you're trying to do is get through the day. So I had a buddy of mine that, I had a bunch left over. I wake up in the morning. I'm like, yeah, let me take one of these.
A bunch left over.
Like
Pills.
So pills, right?
Right.
So I had some, right? Wake up and I'm like, all right, let me try this. He says, crush it up, snort it, and, away you go. And away I went. And the way that our minds are wired is once you hit that button, there's really no turning back.
No.
But you don't know that. You think, all right, no big deal.
Right.
All right,
Same as everything else.
I'm going to do this,
In the moment.
and I'm going to get through the day, and that's it. But here's what happened for me. Not only did I wake up, all of a sudden I had a cape on, and I felt like I was floating. And I was like, holy shit.
Whoa.
I want to feel. See, this is how I went. Once I felt like that, I was like, my delusional mind said, I want to feel like this 24/7.
The switch was flipped.
And the crazy thing is, there was nobody that was going to tell me anything different.
Right.
So once that was in my head, now the chase is on. Now, it didn't happen like overnight where I'm just hustling 24/7 just to find my shit. But it's the idea of, okay, in the beginning, I could socialize. Then eventually, I remember this. It's little by slowly, the people start disappearing. And then all of a sudden it's now, I'm skimming off the top because I'm going to buy for a bunch of people. So now it gets to now where I'm getting more greedy. And I'm skimming off the top because I feel like I'm taking the risk to go buy all this shit.
Right.
They're never going to know. Right? So, you do your thing and this and everything. And I'll never forget. I wake up and I'm like, I feel sick. I feel like I'm getting like a virus, like a viral infection. And I
Very similar.
Yeah.
and I'll never forget this. I'm living in Long Beach and I open up the laptop and I do my typing in of the symptoms. And Google looked at me and says,
You a drug
you
addict."
got a fucking problem. What are you willing to do about it?
Yeah.
And I simply acted as if I didn't see it. I closed the laptop and I continued more research.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I was.
And how old are you when that?
At that time, I was probably 35 or 36.
So this is the early 2000s?
So it was like, it was like the 10s, the 11s.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
I think it would
Good
be like
times.
11. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
11, 12, somewhere in that neighborhood.
But that's what I find so interesting is like, because again, if it was all bad, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
Like it was good for a very long
course,
time.
yeah.
And what people don't understand is when you first get, like, because I've done a ton of drugs, but when I first got that, I mean, it's like literally if somebody injected you with a superpower,
Yeah.
why would you give it away? Like if you finally found something that made you your ideal human of what you think is right and what feels good, why would you give it away? Why wouldn't you want to do it every day? You're enhanced. Yeah.
Right.
Like, fuck, who wouldn't want to be enhanced? Hey, you want to be a superhero? Nah. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's like that Bradley Cooper movie when you take the pill and all of a sudden you're
Limitless.
Limitless.
And that's what it feels like.
In the
I totally
beginning,
get it.
that's what it feels like.
And that's the same thing. I mean, because I did drugs all my life, but once I really started getting into opium, it made me a better salesman, everything else. And then that's like when it talks about in the book, it's elusive. Like you can't tell from the true from false after a while, because at first it's your superpower and then it's your worst enemy. It's the thing that's dragging you down. And I was doing GHB, crystal meth, everything in college, and I just stopped that shit. I never had physical withdrawal. So my ego told me that this shit doesn't happen to me. It might catch you or it might catch him, but the hook is not ever in me. And when it was too late. And even though I had a problem, I did not yet realize that I was not the solution to that problem.
True.
And that's, so I totally get that.
That reminds me of the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where they all thought they had the flu. It was during like a lockdown. They all thought they had the flu, but the real reason was they just haven't had a drink in like 18 hours. So they were all sick, and then they all take a sip of alcohol, a couple of sips of alcohol, and they're all like cured again. And then they all of them realize, wait a second, we're not sick. We
just got to drink every
We just
day.
had alcohol withdrawal.
That's it.
So this is actually a bigger problem.
So you get introduced to opiates at 31, and then you're on this ride, and you said you were about like, what was it, 35 when you were looking on Google and you saw that for the first time?
So let's think about the real timeline here. So I got sober when I was 38. I think I probably found, so the opiate run, you have the Vicodins in the beginning.
That's right.
And that was manageable.
Definitely.
So I would probably say that was like a 33 to 35. And then the opiates, the real hard shit, that was probably 35 to 38.
So 35.
No, never got into that.
Roxy's.
Roxy's,
Oxys, yeah. So you're 35, you start hitting those hard, you start becoming a different man, right? Because like, but at that point, even though you were having fun, you still had certain standards and values you live by. You're doing drugs, but you're having a good time. It's not till we get really hooked that we start losing our substance, I would say, right? So like bring me from like the time you're 35 and you check Google, you realize you have a problem just like me, but you're not willing to admit you're not the solution. What was those 3 years like? The journeys, maybe some more stories, but the struggle you went through, all that got you to rehab.
Well, I got to go back to 2005.
Yeah.
Because in 2005,
How old are you then?
I was 28.
Okay, good.
My
Sorry.
favorite number.
It was a great year, 2005. It's right before the fucking social
I
media
think I was
iPhone
28.
shit.
Yeah, because I got sober. Okay, so I got sober. How about this? I got sober November 11th, 2014. And my DWI was November 5th of 2005, I think. And yeah, I was high on cocaine. I was drunk, high on cocaine. And how many times I was able to drive home and somehow I got fucking lost. I'll never forget. And I lived in Long Beach at the time, and if anybody knows, the cops there, and during this time they were brutal.
Yeah.
And
So laid back now.
yeah, pulled me
lost?
over, and got lost, and that ultimately somehow.
Wait, what do you mean you got lost? Like in Long Beach?
Getting home, I got lost from Garden City.
He's from fucking Erie, Pennsylvania.
I was mangled.
Yeah.
Anyway, to make a long story short, you had the DWI, and it's just kind of like everybody else has those.
In Long Beach,
yeah. Well, as you're talking, you're talking about like, what was it like during those 3 years? But I think before you have to look at that, you have to look at the journey and say, when did it start to have an effect? There were times like when I lived in Manhattan, there was 2 hospital stays, when I lived in Hoboken. Actually, no, there was one when I lived in Manhattan, and then there was another when I lived in Hoboken. And these are all these kind of things where when things start to happen that aren't normal, that's when it's on people's radar that you have a problem. Because now when I look back at all this stuff, when I first started doing drugs, it was every weekend minimum. I can't even remember a weekend or whatever.
But just weekends. You
No,
were
but
like
I'm saying,
not doing it during the week?
But then even during the week. Like when I was living in Manhattan, I mean, we had guys delivering to the house. It was insane.
Chaos.
I lived with 4 guys.
And you were all drug addicts?
Well, put it this way, there was no shame and everybody was doing what they had to do, and it was just total debauchery. But
Right.
I digress. So to your point is when you look at those last 3 years, that's when I really understood the real definition of what it was like to be powerless. Because as you said, I always say I got a problem, but I was always my own solution. And even when I knew that my solution wasn't going to work, I was too scared to find the real solution. And, I always say God has the right size hammer, all the right size suffering. So I kept getting, doing more research, suffering. How many times we would call the treatment center? They would call us back, and we would never make that call back to make the move. And then finally, man, I mean, there was so much in between all this. I mean, like literally just, stealing time from work and just not even being available. And like, how it is. Like, and I was a traveling sales guy. So there would be a lot of conferences where I just couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't perform. I couldn't do anything. I was a waste. And it was like my whole life, I accepted the fact that this was going to be my life. The fear to get sober and to get help was greater than the suffering that I had to go through.
And you were just accepting it. You were just willing to accept that this was your life. Mm-hmm. You were going to die a little bit younger than most people because you are a drug addict and an alcoholic and you can't stop and there's nothing that can stop you and this is just it.
Yeah. And
I remember that feeling.
Yeah. Right.
I remember that exact moment in the car. My girlfriend was driving because I couldn't drive at that point. And I remember sitting there going through withdrawals with like a 0.2 alcohol level and still in withdrawals because I needed to hover around a 0.3 just to not be. It was an insane amount of drinking at that point, the peak of it. And I remember thinking, this is it. This is going to be the rest of my life. It's going to be almost dying and needing alcohol for the rest of my life and just not living a long life as a result.
And now I understand why there was isolation. Because to me, the reason I isolated is because I knew I could not solve the addiction. So rather than have people look at me and feel sorry for me or make me feel shameful, let me be alone. Let me be alone so that way then I can talk myself into all the bad behavior and accept low living.
Such a helpless feeling.
Yeah,
it's
of
just
course.
such a helpless feeling.
Helpless, and useless. And that's why it's funny because the ego grows, but at the same time we talk about having a high ego, low self-esteem. As the ego grows, that tells us we're our own solution. So does the low self-esteem, which tells us we have to isolate until we figure it out. Mm-hmm. And it's like the same thing when I first came into recovery. I'm like, these motherfuckers are way worse than me. And by the time, throughout the years I was in and out, then I started coming back and I was like, oh no, they're way better than me. There's no way. This might have worked for them. And it's so funny how it switches. Mm-hmm. And what you're talking about is that journey of it literally diabolically both growing at the same time. The ego that tells you I could handle this and the low self-esteem that tells you like nobody could see me like this.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
And then to your, when you were asking like, well, when was that moment when you finally like kind of waved the flag? And I honestly don't know how it all kind of came to be. I really don't. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe I felt like I was so scared that I didn't want work to know when everybody knew.
So there wasn't anything crazy that happened. I mean, I know you had the DWIs, nothing like that, but this was just a slow
pain
progression.
And suffering.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and then it became so glaring and obvious. And then it was just like the fear that I was going to lose my life. And then people start coming out of the woodwork. And then I remember having a conversation with my boss at the time. He said, listen, take all the time you need. And once I heard that, I was fine. And it's crazy too, man, because I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm going to be gone for 28, 30 days. Like, life's not going to be able to move on.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
the world's going to stop
I'm not
without you.
I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. I'm not going to be able to
course.
answer my cell phone, like all this kind of shit. And
Well,
I'm
that's the disease too.
Yeah.
That's the disease. That's why I've seen so many friends. A really good friend of mine who had a kid, and I kept on telling him, like, if you love that kid so much, don't you want to be there for him, and not just be there for him, be there at your optimal capacity as a father because you're such a good man and this is holding you back. And he just couldn't get it. So he was constantly getting pulled in this direction of not taking care of himself and filling his cup up. And now finally, after years, he's in a long-term care facility because we get wrapped up and think that, yes, 28 days away or something. And we don't realize the destruction and chaos we cause in our present state. We're not there anyway.
Right.
So what the fuck are you talking about? You're not present.
Well, it's like that old cliche they taught me in rehab with the when the plane is crashing and the oxygen things come down, they tell you to put it on yourself first before you put it on your kid or your wife because you can't help them if you're fucking dead or passed out. You have to help yourself first so you can help others.
Yeah. But you were stuck in that position. And for those 3 years, it wasn't like something hard. It was just literally not just a progression of your disease, but a progression of your suffering to the point where you hit a rock bottom emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah. And I didn't really understand what, when they say all scorecards read 0 until I got into recovery. So that's what ended up happening, where all the wheels on the car fell off and I'm still riding on the rims. And then, and then the rims fall off and you're still pushing.
Yeah.
And and I don't even, it's a God thing that I even been found recovery. I even remember being on the plane, still trying to get high,
The plane to what?
The plane ride down to treatment. The fear, and God was basically saying to me, kid, no matter how much you try, you're not going to get high.
Yeah.
So just deal with it.
Kick
I
and
don't
scream
think
all you
think
want.
God was calling you a kid. You were like 40. Bro.
Wait. So when was the moment, though, before that when you really surrendered? Like, do you remember if it was your mother you told, your boss? Like, when was that moment you had that it was just a true, for the first time, honest reflection of what was going on and an honest assessment of yourself and the situation to be like, yeah, I can't get myself out of this one?
It's weird because you would think it would be your family or my girlfriend at the time. I think it was my boss. It was actually not my boss. It was my boss's kid.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
And I worked with him. And
Was he older than you or younger?
He was younger, but he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Stand-up guy. He's a real good guy. And he just, once he told me, hey, get right. I was like, I exhaled. And I was like, you know what? We're going to figure this shit out. Because it's crazy. I held my profession more than my health as the standard of the fear of like, if I can get over this and if they can understand that, if they give me the blessing, then I'm going to be good. Forget the fact that I'm killing myself and I should be like, dude, no matter what, I'm going.
Yeah, for yourself.
And I think, you know what it is? It's society. It's, nobody wants to admit the defeat.
Yeah, complete defeat.
And I felt like I was embarrassed and like I would never be able to get back what I had. So I figured let's just keep driving in the ground.
So how'd you get into this rehab? Did you make the call?
Yeah. So how did it all go down? I'm not even sure how the research happened. In fact, that rehab is no longer in existence, but it was in Florida. I'm not even sure how it all happened, but
But you made the call. You took the initiative. You said, I'm going to rehab.
And on my phone, I saved that voicemail. It's 11 years old. I have anybody who's passed.
Yeah.
Like JT,
Yep.
Vinny,
Yep.
when I had Chris Esponsi, so all of the people, I still have their voicemails, and that one of them, the first one, was from that rehab, and they had locations all over, so they were based out of California, but they had a location in Florida, and I made the call, and I did the dance, but they finally called me back, and then I think in between all that, I had the conversation with my boss, and I said, all right, I'm going to take this call, and we're going to fucking figure it out, and we figured it out. I remember my cousins helped me a great deal. And, with, the financial piece of it, as far as my mom, ponied up.
Oh, you didn't have insurance?
I did, but they didn't cover it all.
All right.
So, mom.
Expensive.
Yeah, mom helped out on that. And it was it was kind of a team effort. And I say this all the time. Like, I didn't want anything to do with the program, but I just didn't want to live like that. Mm-hmm. And I remember going down there, man, and it's like, I didn't have that detox. The first 7 days was detox, but it was therapy. They take your phone, they break you down. You know this.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I needed
Got it.
that. I was 38 thinking I had all the fucking...
Did you go to rehab high?
Yeah.
You went to rehab.
Yeah. But here's what I tell people. I tell people, like, when I tell when I say my sober date, it's really my surrender date. Because November 11th, I was on a plane heading down, no one doing what I was doing. And the reality is that's my surrender date, but I call my sober date too. It's everybody's journey is different, but it's my surrender date. That's when I gave up.
Right.
And that's when I walked into the program. Right. And man, looking back on this whole thing and just thinking like, those first 7 days, I was like, oh my God, dude, it sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked. I mean, they're you got to get up, you got to do this, you got to do that.
But they gave you drugs to calm
the
withdrawals.
Medline,
We're men that don't like being told what to do,
Right.
which is always fascinating to me because none of us like being told what to do. Yet we have a little bag, a bottle, a fucking needle, tell us what to do every
Leading
moment,
us
every
along.
second.
Yeah.
So you're there and like it's culture shock. You're like, yeah, you want it. And we want a lot of things. But then when you understand the willingness behind what you want, sometimes that want dissipates. You're like, okay, I wanted it, but I'm not willing.
Dissipates?
Yeah, you fucking hump. I use it all the time.
Dissipates?
Yeah, you just can't say it.
You
so
just
you don't
made
think
that
it's
up.
real.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a word. All right.
What do you think it means?
Dissipates?
Lessons.
I think you're like combining precipitates and...
Dissipates.
He's
Look it
that
up.
kind of guy, huh?
Yeah. He's
Questions
fucking
everything.
retarded. Yeah. Which I say about me, like when I really looked at myself, I think I've said it to you before. I was a guy who questioned all the right, asked all the wrong questions and questioned all the right answers, right? Because I wanted you to tell me what I wanted to hear, not the truth. Mm-hmm. So you get there, and that first 7 days is a culture shock. And you were going pretty much for a break, right? You weren't looking to get sober. Like at that point, you were looking for a break to get back to your normal life. But I want to know, like,
Is that true?
what was the point?
Well, here's what I'll say about that. I wasn't sure. Some people will go to rehab to clean up and then go back out.
That's right. Yeah.
That wasn't my story. I think for me, I was tired. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to live the life I was living, but I wasn't sure I wanted to adopt what they were going to teach me in that.
Yeah.
But I had enough willingness and I had enough surrender
An open mind.
that I was just going to say, fuck it. And I was just tired. And then what ended up happening was, it was the little moments that I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Like, I was able to get a night's sleep. And holy shit, I don't feel sick anymore. And holy shit, I can actually pay attention. And holy shit, it's been 7 days since I've had. So all these step 2 moments of like basically having hope. Like I haven't done this in. I haven't felt this in. All of a sudden I'm like, wow, I was starting to get restored to sanity.
Yeah.
And the idea, like, and even talking to you guys, like it's been 11 years and I think to myself, wow, I never even connected the dots like that.
I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. And then, but here's the insanity.
Yeah.
So I'm 14 days in, and we're having this meditation class, and I'm getting the idea. I'm getting my discharge because it's 14 days. It was day 21, and they're giving me my discharge papers, and I'm going to be leaving in about 7 days.
3/4 of the way through.
3/4 of the way through. And I'm getting this idea that I'm feeling good, and I'm like, I think I can do this. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fly home when I'm done, and I'm going to call my man, and I'm gonna do it one more time, and then I'll go to work the next day or whatever it was.
It's so fucking
It's crazy. I
insane.
know.
And I'm
That's
dead
the disease.
I'm dead
So
serious. So
insane.
I remember pulling this kid aside. This kid from he was in Las Vegas, young kid, and I was sharing this story with him. He goes, "Are you fucking crazy?" So after that, I'm in this meditation class, and you know Dove chocolates, how they have the little
Love them.
right.
Yeah.
So all this is going down, and I'm having doubts like about this whole thing, like what's going to happen when I leave. And I saved the wrapper. I saved everything from recovery. The plane tickets, the scripts of like just the medicine I was on, everything. And I saved that little wrapper, and it said, "You're right where you need to be." And I was like, "Fucking A."
On a Dove chocolate
On a
bar?
Dove
Yeah, but those
on the inside.
they had Asians start making them like fortune cookies. That's
Is
what
that? I never. I don't
yeah, we
remember
didn't know-
that.
yeah. Dove moved to Singapore, and
That
all of a
sounds
sudden
like
they
a
started doing fucking
fortune
fortune
cookie,
cookies. No, but so
I'm not a fraud. I'm telling you that.
no, but those are the moments. Like I ask our guests this all the time because I heard early in recovery because when you really get restored to sanity and you realize that life is available to you again, as if you're seeing it for the first time with a new pair of glasses, as they say. You get excited and you get like motivated and inspired, and you want to see what's in your tank. And I was watching a lot of motivational videos. I was just seeking. I just wanted more of good stuff. You know what I mean? And I heard a guy say, like, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back.
Yep.
But being able to look back and connect those dots are what gives you faith that later the dots will connect sometime, right? When you're going through struggle or whatever it is. You don't understand what's happening in the moment. But if you look back and you're able to connect the dots to this moment, when things go on in the future, you have faith that, okay, I might not know what's going on now, but somewhere along the lines, the dots will connect, right? I always find it interesting because I remember every moment. The first moment where I picked my head up in detox or rehab because something was said and it sparked something inside me. So my question to you is during that period, because obviously we all have our doubts. You're 21 days in and like, I got a great idea. This is perfect. I don't need this shit anymore. So now I could just use it and not be attached to it. What were some of those moments through rehab though, if you remember where you heard something and you heard it? You like fucking heard it for the first time and it hit you like a ton of bricks and you're like, holy shit. And some of those moments that led, because when you got out of rehab, like you were on fire, right? You were inspired, 28 days, like all that stuff. So I'd like to know about that. Some of the moments that really helped bring things along for you and just another pat on the back, like you're going to be able to keep going, keep going, keep going.
Well, I had a good counselor. I remember her telling me to write, this is early on. I'm not sure when it was. She sat me down. This is when I was resistant. And she was saying to me, she said, listen, what do you want to get out of this? You're here. What do you want to do? And she kind of challenged me a little bit to say, what do you, so I responded. And, you have to write your, goodbye letter to your drug and this and everything. So what it was is it was her getting me engaged. Because I was sitting there in these groups and I couldn't really, quote unquote, identify because my pride got in the way because I was 38 and all these other kids were like half my age. And I'm like, what can I contribute here? But then that's when I started to learn about being selfless and just giving my truth and just participating. So just the idea of participating. And then when you were talking about, okay, then they take you out to meetings, right? They took us out to meetings every night. They built the foundation. So I was hearing the message of hope. And what was happening is I had an open mind. I was like, okay, maybe my story's a little different, but I can identify with that feeling. Now, I didn't know anything about a sponsor or anything like that, so I didn't really understand all this. But looking back on it, and just the idea, I was floating from the standpoint of, man, like, I'm not a slave to this shit anymore.
Yep.
Now, that just inspired me. And then I remember I was just in getting involved, like the chores and being a leader and, within, and it made me feel good. It was like making that.
Doing the little things.
It was filling that hole. Like, what do we say? We're like high ego, low self-esteem.
Yes, sir.
And it was just filling that self-esteem bucket.
Yeah.
And then, meetings would come into the facility. We would go out to meetings. And then I would start reading the big book. Now I didn't really have a sponsor, but just just getting involved.
Still in the rehab, though.
Still
This is
in the
toward
rehab.
the end.
Yeah.
Now, where was God in all this? Did you have God's the center of it, or not yet?
So I went to Catholic grade school. I went to a Catholic college, and you know a bunch about religion. But not until I got into recovery did I fully understand what my relationship was going to be with what I consider now to be a higher power. It's a different relationship than what I grew up learning.
Right.
So to answer your question, where was God in this whole thing? I wasn't really thinking about God during that 28-day stay. But as Joe talked about, life is lived forward and explained backward. So as I got into recovery and I started to learn what the higher power was, I could start to connect the dots and say, okay, it was here that happened. It was here that happened. God was all over the place.
Yeah.
That's right.
All over the place.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that, you know, they broke you down. And I always say honesty and humility, if you have that in spades, you will have a huge program.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. Like we had to get in the van to go grocery shop, and everything was just, you were broken down.
Yeah.
And
Make your bed, clean the pots and pans.
And
too.
the nice thing is too, is I had an AMA. I didn't
Right.
say, fuck this place, I'm better than this. I'm like, I'm just going to do what they asked me to do.
Right.
which was different too.
Yeah, which was different.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, when I left, I was crying because I'm like, where am I and this is God. I'm leaving there being like, where am I going to get this feeling of fellowship?
Yeah.
Where am I going to get it?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, holy fuck, it's all over the place. It's
Sure.
AA.
It's
AA.
everywhere.
You know? And I was just doing things in recovery, like early on. It was just like I was just on fire. I chased my recovery like I chased.
Absolutely.
And I'll never forget, there was a kid in rehab. I mean, this is shit I would never do. There was a kid in rehab. He was from Pittsburgh, and you know, he got let out before I did. You know, heroin addict, whatever. And I found out through Facebook that he died.
Ugh.
Now I don't know. My girlfriend at the time was now my wife. Bought my dad and I tickets to the Steelers Browns game in Pittsburgh. So here I am. I go to Pittsburgh, and I don't know. I called this woman. Never met her. She was the mother of the son. And my dad and I drove there after the game, and I sat with her for a couple hours, and I talked to her about, because I got to experience her son probably in a way that she didn't. And, you know, just to be able to walk through that fear. And
That probably was so important to her.
Well, that's a
but
level
that's the
of-
kind of stuff
yeah.
that, you know.
That's service.
And not just service is like, and you weren't at the amends process yet, but like part of our amends process, and I have a similar story. I'm not going to share it now because I want to hear more about, but I have a similar story where I want to make amends to this girl. Everybody told me to just leave the fucking girls in my past alone. But I got to make an amends to her because her brother had overdosed, and he had overdosed again later and died. But at this point, they had him on a block of ice, and I just asked to come there and pray with him. And I got to sit with her parents for an hour and a half. Now, if I had a focus group trying to figure out the best way to make an amends to this girl, couldn't have thought of a better way. And it wasn't just to her, it was to her family. Just me sitting there, consoling them, telling my truth, my story, giving them some kind of glimpse into the suffering and pain that their son was going through and why it wasn't so easy to just stop. So like you had that, before you even got to the amends process, that's a living amends of doing our part of just being of service, not just the people of AA, but fucking people.
Yeah.
People. And especially when it comes to parents and laws, because it's so confusing. And the hopelessness we feel is the helplessness they feel.
Yeah.
And they're sharing the same powerlessness that we're going through. And it's fucking terrible. So that was like, how to be such, what did that feel like when you left that lady's house?
Well, you know, the crazy thing is that I felt good. I felt whole, but it was like,
Not enough.
it was it's the first time in my life that I was able to do things that I walked through fear without a drink or a drug. And it was just, there were so many events. Like I was just, everything I did, I just rolled through all the fear. So there was a God, I had a huge God because I was so grateful. And I shared this the other night. I was at a meeting. I said, you know, my life in recovery has been so charmed that what started out as gratitude has turned into an expectation.
That's right.
And then, like I told you guys, in January, I had a stroke. And it's like, and that is like those things where you say to yourself, you're like, holy shit. And that, remember that expectation? And I said to people, when I'm sitting there in ICU and I'm seeing triple, right? And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to pull out of this.
No one told me you had a stroke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe, you didn't tell me he had a stroke? What the
Go
fuck?
around fucking publicly announcing people's fucking.
Well, I would
I
have
think there's
visited.
HIPAA laws.
I would
He's
have
not allowed to
visited
tell
the
you.
guy in the hospital or fucking did something. You know,
He was trying to get well, not get fucking worse. Why would you go visit him in the
Jeez.
hospital?
Well,
He
you
was
know,
fucking-
it's one of those things too. It's like you don't want to lead with the chin. So like when I got out, it was like, what am I going to say? Oh yeah, by the way, do you know that I had a stroke? Like
Yeah.
you know. So it's like it caught fire because I had to show up for certain things, and if I couldn't, I had to let people know. And then once that person knew, then they told other people, and so on and so forth. But like,
but that
to the-
expectation went back to gratitude. For,
right? And what I tell people is that the analogy was I was looking through the window, and God looked back at me when I had this, and He was knocking on the glass saying, "Just remember who's in charge." And it's like, you don't know what you don't know. I feel like this is the theme until
Yeah.
you know something different.
Yeah, but that's life.
And that happened. And look, have I been a pillar of health or treating my body good since
No.
that point? No. But listen, you get a second chance. Things are getting better.
you get a second chance.
Right.
Not everyone gets a second
No,
chance.
right. And
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like in walking through the fear. You know, I don't like doctors. I don't like, like needles and this and everything and all this kind of crazy shit. And I had a colonoscopy, like, dude, was it yesterday? And it was like, I didn't want to have to do that. But
Joe
that's-
loves it. He gets
too.
one like
It's
that
free-
every month.
it's a freebie.
He pays out of
and
pocket.
By
just
the
for
way,
it. Yeah, he
do
loves
you know
it.
what was crazy about that one? It was like I was semi-awake. It
Oh,
was,
really?
It was wild.
Oh,
it
my
was
God.
wild because so they were prepping me. I don't mean to digress, but it was
No,
like
it's
it
great.
was
That's what
really
this is
weird
about.
because when she put the catheter in my arm, I started to get because I get sick. I get like I want to
Oh,
pass
yeah,
out.
yeah.
So I'm laying down.
love needles.
I'm laying down and I'm like, and my face is turning white. And the anesthesiologist is like, yeah, his pressure's down to 50. Like, so they're like, well, why don't we wait a little while? I'm like, all right. So I'm getting better. They give me some fluids, whatever. And so then they start to put me under. And she's like, I don't know if I overheard her, but she's like, oh, we're just going to give him a little bit, just enough. And it was fucking weird because I was like, well, I'm still up. And then I went out. And he's kind of still doing the procedure, and I'm like,
Oh, that's horrible.
But I mean, listen, it's
like getting raped.
I didn't feel much, but I was kind of aware.
Are you supposed to be awake for that?
No,
They're
no.
sticking
It's-
like
But the
fucking
thing-
cameras
but
up your
But they
ass.
couldn't give me
The maximum
the
dosage
maximum
because of his
because of what
state.
happened.
Yeah.
But they were like, "We'll give him enough to where he's not going to feel it, but
and not
you're going to be
uncomfortable.
aware."
Yes, that's what.
So what was it
wild.
like? Did you
Dude,
watch him
that's-
jam it up your
bro.
No,
ass?
but the feeling, I was like, Doc, that kind of hurts.
Yeah.
I was like, shit.
You want to talk about helpless?
Right?
Fucking.
I was
Yeah.
like,
What did he say? Was he like, shh, just let it
Yeah.
happen?
No, he goes,
Yeah.
"Nah,
Just
it's
let
all
it
right.
happen.
It'll
It's
be
just-
over in a second.
just me,
Quiet.
Casper.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry,
Right?
Jenny. It's
That was
just
a
me,
kid's
Casper.
reference.
Yeah, no, it's a great.
And
reference.
nurse, hand
I
me
use
the
it all
KY
time.
jelly.
Such a terrible reference, but I use it all the time.
reference.
And,
But-
when he was done, he came back in. He said, "Yeah, everything's good. I'll see you in 5 years." I was like, "Huh, all right."
Yeah, but you know what's funny?
man.
My last colonoscopy.
Stay golden, pony boy.
My last colonoscopy, I woke up. I was knocked out, but when I woke up for some reason, it was like my third or fourth one. But when I woke up, I got dressed so quick because I forgot that I was having a colon. I did think somebody took advantage of me. So I got dressed so quick, I put both my legs in my pants fine, but in my underwear through one leg. So I'm fucking, I swear to God. And Diane was actually, my girl at the time was actually in the waiting room. So I walk out like, I couldn't walk, and they thought I was still fucked up from the drugs, which I was kind of loopy.
Sure.
So I'm like, where's the bathroom? And it's right by the reception. And I'm in the bathroom now talking to myself because I'm like, what the fuck? I'm pulling my pants down and I'm stuck. And I think I have a mini skirt on. So I think I just got raped, first of all. Now I'm wearing a mini skirt and I'm like, what? I don't wear fucking mini skirts. I'm not some fucking whore streetwalker. And I'm screaming this shit.
Into the mirror?
Imagine the shit
Yeah.
these nurses
I know,
see.
right?
But that's what I'm saying. Then
what a
I
horrible
came
job.
out and like three nurses and Diane were laughing at me because they heard me the whole time and they're like, I'm not some fucking slutty streetwalker. They put a mini skirt on me. Like,
I'm 45 this year. It's coming up. My first is coming up.
there you go. It's a good time, dude.
I'm not getting it.
Trust me.
I'm
you'll
not
be
getting
out.
it. I'm
You'll
not
be
getting
out.
any of these fucking things. You guys are all
yeah,
idiots.
Never gonna get a colonoscopy?
No.
Nope. Well, I don't want them knocking shit loose in there. What
you
the fuck?
You don't have to. Your boyfriend tells you when you're all
Oh,
fucked up
shut
down
the fuck
there
up.
if you need work.
Look, I'm not getting any of that shit done.
Yeah,
Fuck all
sure.
that shit.
You
I
gotta
read
be
on the
a-
internet that you could knock some shit loose in
You
there.
got to be a
What's
real
getting knocked loose
man
in in there.
safe
Fucking
with their
cancer
sexuality
shit.
to get a colonoscopy. You're not safe enough in your sexuality to do what we did.
It's
all
not
right?
the matter of saving up. I just
You
think
gotta
that,
be a real man
what if
to
I
let a
like
camera
it?
get
I
stuck
just
in
think
my ass.
there's like you weren't meant to have shit. Wasn't meant to go up there. It was meant to come out.
There was a comedian.
That's how
in
they
the-
keep track of things, though. I don't know.
There was a comedian when I first watched Andrew Dice Clay on Rodney Dangerfield. He had a joke about that, like proctologists. He had a big microphone. He's like, they stick something like this in your ass just to look around.
Yeah,
I'm like, why don't you tell me what you're looking for? I'll tell you if it's there. What are you looking for? A parking spot?
Something
The fuck's
about
going
it
on?
sounds like fucking the medical community just fucking cashing in on sticking shit up our ass.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know?
You have a look of a proctologist.
Do I?
You're an ass man.
The ass man?
No, so anyway.
I love that before we launched into this, he goes, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to digress.
we really digress.
I'm like, how well do you know these guys? That's all we do is fucking digress. Never apologize for digressing here.
That's where we go. We go off on tangents. But we come back, and we're coming back here because I always appreciated about you, and that's why I want to get to when you did get into recovery, right? Like when you came, you just told us that beautiful story where you got to go sit with the kid's mother and talk to her, right? But when you came in, your hair was on fire because you had this hope and you had this idea of a new life. And I always love what I've heard from you throughout our time knowing each other is it was always interesting to me because I'm very much into that. Like when you met JT and you were talking about the steps and look at all this shit, you're like, whoa. I need to know how I can apply these principles and weave them into my life, not just for drugs and alcohol. And I always thought that was very, very interesting, very
Well, just
intelligent.
for a frame of reference for our listeners, JT was your sponsor.
Yes. And I want to get into that, obviously.
Because
So,
you say JT.
yeah, absolutely. So what the point I was getting to was, can you lead us down that path of, we hear all these suggestions, get a home group, right? Get a commitment, get a sponsor, start going through the steps. When you get out, your hair's on fire. Just lead me down that direction of when you truly got involved in AA, because I know you fell in love with it, and I know you fucking ran with it, and you've helped a lot of people. So run me down that path a little bit.
Yeah, so got off the flight, and at the time, one of my roommates was, he was dabbling in AA. He had been around the program a long time, but never really, and he was one that kind of encouraged me to go to rehab. And I came home and I was like, let's go to a meeting. So him and I went to a meeting, and that was my first, kind of meeting outside. Because I remember them saying to me, hey, look, when you get off the plane, they want me to do the outpatient and all this and everything, but get to a meeting. Get to a meeting, do the basics, home group, this and everything. Right. I didn't really want to do that outpatient because it was going to cost me too much money. So I'm like, all right, let me just try this AA stuff. And then probably my second or third meeting, it was a different fellowship. And JT was in God moment.
Yes.
He was finishing up his greeting commitment. I walked down the stairs. It was a small meeting, maybe 8 guys, men's meeting. He says, hey, my name's Jonathan. Welcome to Bop. Okay, great.
And he's like a shining light. His smile, his energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always call him the Barack Obama of AA. He was just a cool,
Yeah, dude.
He was just a cool,
Right on.
silky smooth guy.
Yep.
you know?
Yes.
And he was the right guy for me because I remember being that kid with thinking about, well, I want a sponsor to have years of experience but not be old. I want him to have a story that I could relate to, and so on and so forth. And that was him. And I remember after the meeting, him and I were sitting there and we were talking. I said, listen, I don't really know much about this thing, but I was told to, find a sponsor. And he says, write a gratitude list and call me in the morning. And I was like, okay. And the journey began. And I remember when I don't want to get choked up, but when we went to go see him when he was in his final days, and JT was, and the relationship I had with him over the 11 years was not one that we broke a lot of bread and this and everything. It was always about program. I mean, he was part of my wedding
friends,
party,
yeah.
and so he was always part of my life.
But it was sponsor first.
But it was really just about application of the program. And I remember him giving me a hug and crying and saying, you've done more for me than you'll ever know. And I was like, wow. And it's just like, that's all I needed to, he didn't elaborate, and that was it. And I just was like, wow, and you just don't know. Because that was never my aim. My aim was just to show up and to do and to build that relationship and to do the things that, you had talked, like you had mentioned. I said, so when I was doing the work, I was just open. And you know what? For the first time in my life, I shut the fuck up and I followed direction because I always wanted to lead. I always wanted to be heard. You know, I don't need anybody to tell me because I'm the great I am. And then a guy in the caravan when I was down in getting groceries down in Florida, when he was taking me, he says, "Your best thinking got here, kid. So, you know, sit back and relax."
Yep.
But getting back to your point about recovery, I remember saying to John, I was like, if I don't know how to apply these steps in my everyday, it's going to be a matter of time where I'm just going to be like, this ain't worth it for me. Because I'm always going to be looking for the home runs, you know? And if when that stops, then I'm going to be like, so the point of this whole thing was I just got into the work. I didn't ask a lot of questions. I mean, I asked the questions I needed to ask, but I was just like, what do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? And then he would always say when we would talk, what's going on in your life and where's God in this whole thing?
Yes.
You know, I'm sure you've heard that before, and it's just like,
Yeah, from him and a lot of other people.
yeah, and that's how I'm so grateful because I felt like I built a very good foundation. I walked into our men's meeting, and I had 32 days.
Crazy.
I was at 4 days out of treatment, and you know how that meeting is.
Yeah.
And looking back on that whole thing, I thought to myself, "Wow, man, you know anybody can do anything." And it's not to say that there was any sort of superpower in that room. It's just that room is wired a little differently. So I think the point is like, if you're ready and you're ready, you can do anything you want in the program. And it was just like, I learned about what true selflessness was. And I also learned how selfish I was.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
didn't understand that until I did the work.
Yes.
And once you do that inventory and you really honestly take an inventory of your stock in life and your decisions, for me, it just raised a red flag to think, wow, I self and me 84 times in my 4-step. And that was the first time I realized, holy fuck, I'm selfish as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And
there is God. I mean, there is a superpower in that room. You said that, like, when I was in that meeting for a while, I felt like there was a superpower in that room. Only from this point of I'm in a room with like 10 or 12 men that are all centered God in their at the center of their life of everything.
Yes.
And when you're in a room, it's like even when I'm in church sometimes and around people where God is the center, I do feel a stronger presence of God. You know, and that's a superpower.
Yes, and not only that, like I explained that meeting to people, we are in the unique position to hear other men's truths. Mm-hmm. And two things that JT said to me that will stick with me forever was, one, suffer publicly, because I was never taught that. I was taught hold everything in, show a projection of everything, just like most of us were, you know.
Yeah.
And the other was Rule 62, which he made me look up, which was don't take yourself too seriously and wear life like a loose garment. And I'll hold that with me forever because those are two very important ingredients in my recovery. But we are in a very unique place where we get to hear other men's truth. In a world like today where you don't see anybody's truth, my father used to say, believe half of what you see, none of what you hear. You can't even believe half of what you see.
Right.
So to be in that position and to hear other men with time suffering the same way we do of the same thing called life and humanism before even alcoholism, it is God. It is so strong.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's contagious because it's different than anything I've ever seen.
And people
or
who
been
aren't
around.
in AA don't really like when my brother comes to my anniversary meetings, right? And my mom and my dad, but especially my brother because he talks about it and he hears like Joe speak, like my 1 year anniversary when Joe like told his story, like I asked him to speak. He told it, and like my brother was like, I've never heard any human in my life sit there and talk so honestly about themselves in front of a group of people that wasn't getting paid for it. It wasn't a show. It was just pure honesty. I've never even experienced anything close to that in my entire life.
No, why would you?
Yeah.
We're in a world
Right.
of show and tell, basically. I'm gonna show you one thing, but I'm not telling you the truth. Like this is what I want you to see. This is how you want you to view me. So like for you to go, that's so crazy. 32 days. I thought I was quick because you brought me in there when I was like 6 months. I started getting an itch and going to that meeting. But so you meet JT, you get into the work, you get into this meeting, right? And you're inspired because it's helping you so much, right? So give me an idea of the journey going through the steps. Like everybody has different aha moments, right? And like we say, like there's kind of like spiritual pats on the back, like where you're doing it. And I always say, like, I'm a good guy, I just make bad decisions. I'm a good guy. And I said that for years until 25 years of fucking doing dirt and looking back and be like, I can't say that anymore. Like, I'm not that big of a fucking idiot. Like, I can't say I'm a good guy that makes bad decisions because my experience showed me that all those bad decisions add up to me being a piece of shit, which I thought I was destined to be. And that's why I tried to end it, because who wants to live like that, right? So my question is, like, step 2, came to believe in a power greater than yourself. That within that, there's so much more into that, because I had to come to believe that I'm not a fraud too, right? Because I have much more experience being that guy than this guy, even 3 months, 6 months, 8 months of doing the right thing. I had to come to believe in a power greater than myself, but I also had to come believe that this is who I am now. I'm this guy. So do you deal with that at all? And do you have any of those moments, like through working the steps, through questioning, like, is this really my path? Am I really becoming this man? When it really hit that, like, holy shit, this is different, and this is who I want to be, and this is who I am today.
So we talk about those aha moments, perspective shift, spiritual awakening, call it whatever you want. I remember step 1, and it was like we were solving nuclear physics when Jay was like, well, I want you to write a powerlessness list, and then I want you to write an insanity list, and I'd look up those definitions, because we're guys like us, we need to know, we need to understand exactly how this question is to be answered. And I'm sitting here writing a bunch, and it's like, you would have thought that he was asking me to solve nuclear physics, answering these questions, and I couldn't figure it out. But I'm like, all right, whatever, pounce over this.
Right. Well, you don't solve nuclear physics. That's not a thing.
Right.
But yeah.
But in my
Those
mind,
are Jewish.
What
about nuclear
I let it go.
physics?
I let it go the first time. I let it go the first time. The second time, I had to get in there.
Always, you want to be heard. I got it.
So, go ahead. You try to answer this
I
question.
really fully understood that. I really thought I didn't really understand, like, the whole powerlessness thing. And I remember him telling me, you're powerless over people, places, and things, and basically other than your own thoughts and actions. And I'm like, that was weird, because I never thought of that. Like, I was either delusional in thinking that I really had control, and that was the first aha moment that you were like, wow. So there you go. So then once you open that Pandora's box, once the genie's out, it's hard to put it back in. So I knew that. So I couldn't unsee that. So that was the first, thing. Yeah. And then, just, I guess, going to a meeting and things like that. I mean, they say, look, you go to a meeting and you see the power of God there. You see the hope in the room.
Yeah.
And I would
if
think,
you're present.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not, then you don't see it.
No, right.
Because if you're present in the moment, and then you can see these things. If you're not, you could be in the exact same situation with the exact same people and not see it.
Yeah. And what they say, I mean, like, nobody really gets sober on their own.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard I tried, until I was actually in a room of people, that it was for that hour that I wasn't drinking or I wasn't using. And then, you just identified with the speaker, and it was just like, but yeah, I mean, as you go through the journey, step 3, and then you write the inventory in 4, and then you break down the fear and the confession in 5, going through all that, because then you're talking about shit that you don't really necessarily want to talk about. Now, did I have a lot of skeletons in my closet as far as that I wasn't comfortable talking about? Not really, but there was a lot of hurt and there was a lot of abuse, verbally, whatever, to other people due to my selfishness. And like we talk a lot of times too, when it came to women, I never really understood, and I never really could develop any good relationships with any females. They were a means to an end for me. It was always just about serving my needs, and then I'll take care of you later. Now, doesn't mean that, when we're younger, we find, the hot chick, and we're just like, they're like the god. Put them on a pedestal and and then my life is defined by how they treat me. Like they have that much power that, if on a good day they're loving me, I'm the...
Yeah.
We're codependent as fuck.
Absolutely.
And the more beautiful the woman, the more power they have.
And then
for me personally.
And then when drugs and alcohol take over, then all of a sudden that is slowly but surely, no matter how good the girl is, and it just separates. And then
Does it
my
separate?
my standards become lower and lower and lower. My standards of living just drop. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's, but getting back into program, I met my wife 90 days into recovery.
Crazy.
And
Wow, you're not supposed to do that.
Right. And here I am, a serial. Right. There wasn't one person that I ever dated where I was faithful to.
Yeah, me either.
And
until I got sober.
Yeah, and then I wasn't really looking for anyone because they would say no new relationships. And I remember going to get a tooth pulled, and I thought I tell people that was the most expensive dentist visit I ever had. And I wasn't really ready, but it was kind of like open mind kind of thing. I was still heavily involved in the program and this and everything.
And you feel everything. All those emotions are so intense. Like when you as if you're in middle school and you have a crush. Because it's everything's
so you met her getting your tooth pulled?
Well, she
was a dental assistant at the time.
Now, what did you do? Did you take the drugs to get the tooth pulled? Because you're right out of rehab now. Like,
Novocaine, and it sucked.
Just Novocaine.
And I think I don't know if they may have given me gas, but I'm not even sure.
And then after just Advil or Tylenol?
So to that point, I remember. And Jonathan and I had this moment. So I remember getting the script, but not really doing anything with it.
Right.
I saw him either that night or maybe the next day. And we were on our way to Tuesday. And I said, "Hey, here it is." And he basically threw him out. And it was like that was a good moment, man.
The opioid script.
Yeah, because here's two opiate addicts in the car
with a script.
With a whole script and nothing but truth and God in that whole thing. And the idea was like, you know what? There was no real want for any of that.
Right.
So that was like, that was a God moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So many God moments.
Because you didn't even have to take that pill bottle with you and show them. You didn't have to give it to them. You didn't have to tell anybody.
Yeah. And it's just like, you know what? It's like, but that's what we're taught. You suffer publicly, you live transparent.
Yeah.
Right.
You got nothing to hide.
And that's just being a man of integrity, which we're taught here.
It's so easy. It's so easy for you not to tell anyone.
Yeah, of course.
And to get the prescription filled and tell yourself, I'm just going to get it filled, and I'm not going to take it. Only if I need it. Only if it's in extreme. But you're getting it, and you're taking that action of, first of all, you're taking the action of not telling anyone, and then secondly, you're taking action of getting the pills, even though you're lying to yourself and saying, I'm not going to use the pills. I'm just going to get the pills. It's just all this, but you nipped it in the bud.
Yeah.
You had God in the center of your life, and you brought it.
And that's my question. I have two, because we have to wrap it up soon, but I have two important questions I'd like to ask you. And the first one, because I know you're a man who's done a lot of service.
Yes.
Always interested of that first feeling, because I remember it was like where you actually help someone altruistically. And you were like, what the fuck was that? And it felt so good. But before I even get to that, we mentioned God, and we were just talking about God being in that car with you and JT. Otherwise, those pills wouldn't even be there. You wouldn't even told them. But then we talked earlier about being raised, Roman Catholic and religious and stuff like that, and another man's depiction of God, which we all have resentments towards and whatever. But my question to you is, we talked about your development of your higher power through these steps. Do you remember the moment where you started to see that come to fruition, not another man's depiction of God, but who you felt in your heart and what that meant to you and what that felt like?
That's a great question.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll tell you what. I don't know the exact moment, but I believe it's in step 3 in the 12 and 12 when I fully understood what it meant to have the real relationship with a higher power. When it talks about having the Christmas list, like from a kid from Santa, and only leaning into God when you needed something as the pinch hitter. Yeah. That was that moment when I was like, holy fuck, I had it all wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
I had it all wrong. So that was my moment where I really started to pivot, and I started to realize, rightfully praying. Pray for guidance, pray for direction, don't pray for things. Don't pray to make my life easier. Pray to have the strength that when shit hits the fan, that you're going to give me the tools to handle it.
Yeah, and it's fucking awesome. It's so true, though. But do you remember what that first prayer felt like when you had that experience and then you got on your knees and actually prayed for something other than yourself, or a foxhole prayer?
Well, because we're elaborate thinkers, and I want to have these wonderful conversations with God. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? Let me just.
I'm laughing because
I have photos on my phone that I still have, and it was the 3rd step prayer and the 7th step prayer and the 11th. So I would literally just kneel down and I would look at the picture and I would read it, because then I didn't have to think about it, and then eventually it committed to memory. So that's kind of how it worked.
Great
That's
advice.
awesome.
That's a great suggestion for anyone out there who's struggling.
Don't overthink.
Was it 3rd, 5th?
Yeah, so you get the 3rd, the 7th, and the 11th.
Yeah.
3rd, 7th, and 11th prayers in the big
Yeah,
book.
well, because I just had a conversation with a person about it. They believe, right? Like, and everything starts with a belief. I believe, like, willingness comes from the belief. Because why would you be willing to put in all that work? I always say that about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. The belief that they could be the greatest,
Right,
had
but
to come
not
first.
LeBron, because he's a fucking
No,
little
but
bitch.
their
Yeah.
belief that they could be the greatest had to come first. Because why would they be willing to sacrifice all that if they didn't think, if I could, right? That's like the whole idea behind that. So I just had a conversation with someone who believes in God, but they don't know how to actually build a connection and relationship with him because they don't know how to pray. And like, I know it sounds crazy, but that's something like anything else that takes practice, and it takes humility to be able to feel like you fucked up the prayer, because it doesn't have to be perfect. But like that talking to God in your own voice and not feeling like you have to do it in this conventional way where you're handcuffed to that you're unworthy to speak to God in your own language.
Right.
That is a fucking disease within itself that holds people back from a true connection that could help them tremendously just with who they are. Right. So like, when you first sat down and did that, and like it grew into your own words, what did that feel like when for the first time you felt like you were really talking? Because I know for me, like I could go through the motion. I'm sure we've had plenty of conversations where we're trying to get, because we lose that connection. That a relationship with God is just like anything else. It takes fucking work. Anything worth anything in this life, because I could acquire a lot of shit. Maintaining it is a problem. It takes work, and I get lazy, and I get complacent, and I want things to come easy, and I don't want to continue to work with that effort. So, like, I've had those moments where I've disconnected from God, and I'm going through the motions, saying the prayer, saying the third step, but I just don't feel it. And then I stop, and I slow down. So, like, what was that first time, like, where you actually felt that connection, like, come through your spirit? You remember?
I'm not sure I remember, because there's just so many moments, but like the overwhelming feeling that I had that a higher power was just so present was that I started writing poetry through my wife, right? And it was just magic through the pen. It was so easy. And what was happening is like, it was just all these God coincidences, all these things where I would start thinking about things, and all of a sudden somebody would call and be like, what the fuck?
Fucking crazy.
Is it like the Truman Show where like my
Synchronicities.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then thinking about when we were talking about prayer, right? What does step 11 say? Praying for the knowledge of your will for me and give me the strength to carry it out. If for nothing else, you just thought of that as your prayer, that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Just praying for the guidance, and then give me the strength to get the fuck out of the way.
Get out of the way,
You know,
exactly.
and if somebody who's ever fighting the idea of a higher power, all you have to say is, hey, look, man, as long as it's not your own thoughts and actions, run shit by people. You know, you're ultimately going to make your own decision, but seek counsel in some serious shit. Yeah. Do I need counsel on how to take a shower? No. Do I need counsel on how to brush my teeth? No. But if there's serious stuff that have consequences and they involve other people or they involve myself, run it by somebody if you don't have the answer.
Right.
Absolutely.
See, my prayer for me, it was similar, but it was a little different. It wasn't the 3rd, 7th, and 11th. It was just, instead of praying for asking for things and God, can I have this? You know, God, can I have that? Or God, I'm in trouble, help me. It was just more of just talking to God and just saying thank you. Just because what I lacked was being grateful. I wanted what everyone else had, and I was never grateful for what I had.
That's
and
right.
then that old saying, I forgot how it goes. It was
Comparison's the thief of joy.
yeah, but no, just like I prayed for new shoes until I saw the man with no feet.
Yes,
you know,
I love that.
Yeah, but it's
True.
amazing because
It's true.
and then once I started thanking God for all the things that I do have, then just praying and talking to God. I didn't have to do it at nighttime on my bed, or I didn't have to it was anywhere at any time. I felt anxiety or anything, I would just thank God. You know, for just the little things like just simple like health, for consciousness, just the fact that my heart is still beating and blood is still flowing, and I still get to tell my mom I love her and my dad I love her. You know, I'm still able to do this because there's going to come a day when I won't be able to say I love you to my mom or I love you to my dad or my brother. Like that's life. You know, the longer we live, the more shit we lose. You know, and that's just the way it is. Yep. And be grateful for what you have right now. And if I'm not, then I'm going to be unhappy. I'm going to be off. Yeah. And that's for me. That's how.
But
it was,
that's important because it's important to keep it simple. Like I said to this person, like you could just kind of start there with like, hey, God, or whatever you are. I want to build a connection. I don't know how. Like, it's just that start
Simple.
of seeking.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. Thank you for everything you've given me. But the last couple of things I want to go through, because again, you've been a man of extreme service since you came into the program and helped a lot of people. And I'm always inspired by that and always been inspired by that, because again, that's true selflessness. And there is a high that we get from that, a good intentional high from within of just like, yeah, I did this just because it was so freely given to me. So, because we always like to end with like your philosophy and ingredients for life. But before we get there, I just want to know a little bit about like that first time you were actually able to go do service. You talked about it with seeing the kid's mother, but that first time you were able to really go and do service, what that felt like, and like, were you just bought in right away? Like, yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to start 28 I'm meant to do all that stuff. Like, you were fucking on fire is right and inspired. So can we kind of like relive that first moment that really said like this, yeah, God saved me so I could be here doing his work?
So how many times before we got into recovery, would there be moments where we knew we could do better, but we didn't, be out of fear?
Yep.
I'll give you simple things. If you see trash and you walk by, do I want to pick it up, or am I going to be embarrassed if somebody sees me picking this up? And I don't know why I kept thinking about this as you're telling me this. So I was in Texas. I think I was at a conference, newly sober, and there was a homeless guy. He was outside of like a McDonald's or something. And I would never, ever offer, hey, look, you want a bite to eat or something? And the guy took me up on my offer because I was new in recovery, and I was just like, this is the right thing to do. And I bought him a meal, and he was grateful. And I was like, and I moved on, and it was fine. It was like, and I did that without any fear of like who's watching me or this or that or anything like that. And it was like, and it was just shit like that, you know?
Because I have a similar, so I have a bunch of them, but early in recovery, you don't care if you're going into a crack house, like you have this fucking armor of courage where you know you're going to be all right because you're doing God's work. It's the weirdest fucking thing that's unexplainable. It like hits you like a rush, like something you'd be so scared, people looking at you, that, I'm going to get hurt. But you have this armor of courage where like, no, I'm doing God's work. It's going to be okay. Like whatever the dirty situation is, right? And that's what is so mind-boggling, because I've had so many situations like that where, yeah, I would have been scared. And for me, that like God conscious, and that's what I try to explain to people, it's little. It's not always this big thing. It's just this other voice that you never heard before, right? Like, and for me, he makes fun of me because I say mommy, but I'll never forget it. It was like 6-7 months. I got a pass from rehab to go stay at my house for the weekend, and I'm fucking eating in the middle of the night like I always do, and I'm fucking getting an ice cube, and an ice cube hits the glass, pops off, and falls on the floor. Now, 10 out of 10 times, I kicked that fucking ice cube right under the fridge. 1,000 out of 1,000. 1,000 out of 1,000, right? I kicked the fucking ice cube right in the fridge. I'm not picking that up.
Right.
And all of a sudden,
You're too funny.
that thought was interrupted by another thought that said, what if mommy wakes up to go get something to eat and there's remnants on the floor and she trips and falls?
Yeah.
That thought never entered my mind before the program and before getting a God consciousness.
Yeah.
That was the moment that I realized I'm changing, because other people saw it in me, but that fucking little thought never occurred. And I picked that shit up and I made sure it was dry as it could be, and I went about my day. And that is one of the moments that made me believe that I could be someone better too and different, you know. And that's what I think, like that, it's the simple things, like you going and seeing that guy, never would that thought occur. But those are the things that build momentum of, yeah, I could be this man. Like, I am this man. It's just, this man was wrapped in fucking self-doubt and insecurities for so long, I never really knew that was within me.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful when it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to thank you so much, but we always ask our guests to like leave our audience and us, because we're always learning something new. That's why when me and him do this podcast, I'm so grateful, because not just meetings and stuff like that, I'm high for the rest of the week, because how can you not be getting down to sit down and talk to someone and have an honest conversation, hear their truth, their suffering, how they got out of it? You got to be out of your fucking mind not to be inspired, right? So like, what are a couple of philosophies that, even though there's a lot that you live by, that you think are essential for a fulfilled life?
Well, to say that I live by these every single day,
Nobody fucking does.
no. but there's two things. One, if you know better, then do better.
Okay.
Like
And
that.
the other one is
Love
leave
that.
today better than you find it.
I love that.
Are those creeds? I think those are creeds, right?
Are they
Those
creeds?
are good. Yeah, I think those are good.
They're
Yeah.
just simple because it's the same thing as what you're talking about. Now I do pick up garbage and I hold the door open. I used to hold the door open with an
Right.
expectation of I want to fucking thank you. And if I don't get that thank you,
Right.
my
That's so
3
funny.
hours later, I'm thinking about how I should have smacked that fucking guy in the mouth. You cunt. Well, how can you not thank? The more I go through this program, the more I get closer to the ideal man I want to be when nobody's looking, and I don't give a fuck
When nobody's looking.
what your I don't give a fuck what your response is. I do this because that's the man I want to be. I want to pick up the garbage because what you just said. I know better. I'm going to fucking do better. I don't care if anybody's watching. Nobody's giving me a pat on the back. At the end of the day, I have to deal with myself, and I have to lay my head on the pillow at night. And my expectations for myself, I don't compare myself to others today. I compare myself to the guy I was yesterday. And when I do that, I continue to grow towards something better. And those two creeds, I think, are fucking of premium importance for anyone in life to do.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that. I know we
You
got
have
to finish.
to love who you are
But
and the man you're becoming.
The stuff that you just said, like when no one's looking. I used to do that nice shit when I was drinking. Like I used to help the homeless guy. I used to bring the homeless guy in the car, drive him around.
Because you were looking for a blowjob.
Well,
That wasn't altruistic.
no, but listen, if she was a hot
He
homeless
also
girl,
gave blowjobs, so
Right.
it wasn't all selfish.
none of this is true. It's all erroneous. But the truth is, I used to do that stuff because I wanted who was looking. I wanted other people to notice. But now it's just different. Now I'm not doing it for those reasons. I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still helping people, but I'm not doing it because I want credit. I want other people to notice. I'm not doing it for those reasons. I'm doing it because this is what's the right. Like you said, what was that creed?
If you know better, then do better.
Right. It's more of
But-
that mentality.
But that's
Yeah.
why, if you look at all of it, like you have a huge heart. You have a fucking huge heart, right? Like I have a huge heart. But if we didn't, maybe we wouldn't be in this mess because guilt and shame took us down a deep fucking rabbit hole of thinking we can never be someone of substance. And then why live? Right? Because if we didn't have guilt and shame and such a big heart, we'd still be out there ripping and rubbing and robbing from people.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's that. But I just want to end with this because I've said this before, but just so the audience knows, like 10 years I tried to get sober and didn't really try, but in and out, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months. And it's funny because this time around 6 months, I felt that itch because I like the beginning of recovery because I get so good so fast and I like that high climb. And then somewhere along the lines, you don't plateau. The trajectory just slows down. It doesn't get as steep. You're still growing. You just can't see it. And I called Kurt because I felt the itch. And what I like to do is when things aren't operating to my liking and I'm not growing at the pace I think I should be or keeping up, I want to burn the whole fucking thing down and start over again, right? So, and I was about there. I was 6 months in. I was in the sober house. I'm like, yo, I'm feeling it. I'm going to burn this bitch down. And I called Kurt, and I was talking to him about it honestly, and he's like, look, man, I think you'd be great with this men's meeting. They don't fuck around. It's an accountability group. You have to bring your truth. Lay your dick on the chopping line, and we hold you accountable. And
That's
I was
not
like,
a saying.
No, and I was like,
Yeah.
that fucking sounds terrible,
Yeah.
right? But if it wasn't for that, I mean, the man I am today is directly correlated to God and that room of men because it pushed me to do things and learn stuff about myself and challenge myself and grow each step of the way and not run from my fears, not run from who I thought I could be or was, but just be in the moment of the truth and where I was at. And I owe you such a debt of gratitude for that because I'm telling you, I was on my way out until I went to that group, and that group did everything for me.
Yeah.
And being able to be there with you and see your journey, even through the latest journey, because I'll tell you, you've seen me fucking get away from the program, get off the beam and what I look like. I've seen you get away from and it's a beautiful thing because nobody's fucking perfect. And that's why I love hearing the guys that have 30 years sober share so honestly because I don't feel like a fucking piece of shit, the thoughts that are going through my head. I know we're all just trying our best. So I owe you a debt of gratitude and I just love being able to see your progression now after you were off the beam for a little bit. And now all of a sudden, even hearing you share the last few weeks, you could just hear the difference in your voice and your connection with God and your spirit and what you're trying to do. And it's just a fucking privilege and an honor. So I appreciate you
Love
so
you, buddy.
much. Love you too, man.
Yeah, man.
And thank you for coming and sharing
You
your
guys,
story.
this
It was
is
awesome.
great.
Yeah, it was
It's fun,
Fantastic.
right?
Oh, it's
It's
great.
fun. Yeah.
Great. We'll do it again.
Awesome.
And it just hit me like I'm never gonna be able to, we're never gonna be able to ask JT to be a guest.
No. So our
That
friend,
would have
and
been
let's just
amazing.
and with that is so our friend JT that we keep talking about recently passed away, losing a battle with cancer, and this man taught us so much. But one of the biggest thing I think he taught us was how to pass with dignity and grace as a sober man and a man of God. Because if you saw to his last moments, his smile, his energy, his light, and what he made others feel like as he was leaving this earth is
And his
nothing
courage.
short.
The
Yeah, it's
courage,
nothing
too.
short of just inspirational, true love, unconditional love from God. Like knowing that the spirit of the universe exists, and Jonathan was in his hands. Like that to me, watching that, as sad as it was just like, it's something that I aspire to become. And
Well,
look
it's
up
the
to.
ultimate trust in God.
Yes.
Like for me, that's
Yes.
what the
You're
relationship with
100%
God
right.
is.
Yes.
And you saw it in his eyes when you visited him. When I visited him, you just saw this ultimate trust in God. Like he knew he was dying, but he just trusted God. He trusted the process, and I don't know if he was fearless, but I felt like he was fearless when I was around him, and
Well,
it
he
was
was
unbelievable. Courageous.
That's
yeah.
what having a higher
facing
power in your
fear and
life
being
is.
crazy. Yeah, it was
That's
just
right.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was just inspiring.
So a lot of love, a lot of gratitude, and
Yep.
appreciation, and thank you so much for coming down.
Hey, thanks, boys.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Love you both.
Love you too.
man.
Proud of you.
Awesome.
All right.